right, microphone check. Microphone check, 1 2 1 2. Get the headset on. What is going on? We're going to be tying some flies. We're just getting set up. Pop the camera on, take that off. Mic check, 1 2. Get that set up. Let's give a round of applause. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's get this down lower. I was filming something else. Let's get this a little bit lower. Change the angle here. Manual focus. I do want to set it up so I'm comfortable time because we aren't filming a tutorial right now. But welcome everybody. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. You know, I'm going to pop my sweater off. Give me 1 sec. It's getting hot and all these lights and everything already. All right. Let's get settled on in. Got that new Regal looking good. Let me go ahead and pop that down a little, turn this down a little, do that. Okay. Should be good. How are we looking? Let's get the light set up here. Okay, we're looking pretty good. So, what's going on, everybody? If you haven't checked out, we have the new Peanut Bunker BTD giveaway video, which is live. Let me just do this. Mic check, mic check. Make sure my levels are good. Oh, and let me go ahead and put noise suppression on as well. Let me pull this up 1 second. We do also have our, so this new Peanut Bunker video, which also is our giveaway video on YouTube. So if you want a chance to win some flies, you could check that out. And then on Twitch here, because we're streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, we have our marble race. Real quick, I'm going to pull up the Peanut Bunker, which, by the way, I have the next 4 videos uploaded early for members, so I got ahead of schedule here, which I'm happy about. So if you haven't checked out after the stream, be sure to check out the new Peanut Bunker Bucktail Deceiver Flatwing. And like, comment on it, and I'm sure most of you folks are already subscribed, so you're good there. And we'll pick a giveaway winner at some point. And then bada bing, bada boom for all you Twitch folks. You can ! play, which I'm going to hop in there just for fun because we got our marble race going. We're going to leave this up for a while, doing the follower giveaway and then the sub one. Yo, Craggerol, what's up? How you doing? How you doing? You know, I think I'm going to get some Epidemic Sound going. I kind of like listening to some music last time. So, small amount, a very light amount of music. What's going on, Jin? How you doing? Athanasio, which I think I said your name right. It tricks me every time. Weren't you going to come to the fly show? I was going to mention. I don't think I've seen you since. I didn't get to see you there. Hopefully I didn't miss you. Maybe you just didn't get to come out or something. But welcome on in. Working right now, Craggerell? Okay, cool. What are we doing here? Let's go through the favorites. These are old music back in the day. You had to work. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I stepped out a couple times to smoke a cigarette. I was like, oh no, I hope I didn't miss you. Yeah, I don't like that. Let's start off where? Down here? Oh, we got some crazy music in here. Yeah, sure. How's the music level? Let me know. I don't want it to be too loud. Just loud enough. Start off with some trap, quote unquote, from Epidemic Sound, huh? I wish I went, but next year for sure. Well, in case you missed it, in fact, Sergio Diaz just put a video out, which let's take a look real quick. Un momento, por favor, mi amor. So right here, which we watch ads for Sergio Diaz, okay? I will skip, but I will watch it. All right, check out your boy. So you can check this out in case you missed it. Captain Dave Flanagan. A lot of awesome people featured in this video. So check it out from Sergio Diaz in 4K. Your boy. By the way, okay, I'm pretty skinny. I'm just gonna put it out there. Definitely lost some weight. I've been watching. I think switching from Guinness to White Claws did it. Is there a link somewhere? I'll put a link in the chat. I'll grab a link. Thank you, Jen. That's probably something that somebody who has a YouTube channel should know, you know, and has Twitch streamed for years. It's a great idea. Yo, Doc, what's going on? I sent your flies, some flies your way. My friend. How do I do this? I gotta pull it up on this thing because I'm on a different computer, don't I? I do. And I shall. Well, welcome on in. We're gonna be fly tying for a while. We're just getting set up here. I should have a camera on myself, but whatever. Who wants to do that nowadays? Imagine having a camera, like a face cam. I'll put this in the vise to appease you guys visually. All right. Give me a second here. Share, copy link, paste it in the Restream OBS chat. Yeah, there we go. There's a link to Sergio Diaz's video. Awesome dude. I fished with him plenty of times. He's taken me out to Montauk. We fished on foot up on the North Shore down here. He's a cool dude. And he is an amazing, you know, filmmaker, essentially. He's a professional photographer as well, so. All right. Very good. Thank you, Jen. You can check that out. There's Captain Dave Flanagan, who's featured, which, by the way, I took some... we have AC Fishing. We have Sir Jin has a photo in the new Striper video I just put up for members. That's going up on April 4th. This is the second episode. It's going live to the public. Fly Fishing for Striped Bass, episode number 2. And it's an in-depth guide to spring striper fishing. So it's 23 minutes, 22 minutes long, and it took me about 3 days to edit. There's footage and videos from a bunch of people in the community and people on Instagram, as well as guides. And South Fork Salt, I reached out to South Fork Salt, and we included some bunker footage. So it's going to be an in-depth guide for early to late spring, which includes all the way up through July. I'm going to make another video on summer fishing, which I'm going to see different people say, you know, different things, but it's probably like, you know, late June, early July to some point all the way up until October, I would really consider, or like September is like summer nowadays. Wolf's Helm, what's going on? Dude, you won some flies, Wolf's Helm. You're not Wolf, the same Wolf that is in our Discord that plays guitar, right? I think that's a different Wolf. You won some flies. I need your shipping address, buddy. I haven't seen you or been able to get in touch with you. So either on Instagram, on Twitch here, because I forgot we can actually message on Twitch, or on our Discord, send me a shipping address. Okay? I'm going to write your name down right now so I don't remember. That is you. Okay, Wolf. You changed your name then. So you want, what do you call it? Just, if your address changed, send me the updated. If not, I'll find it. But just put it back in the Discord, actually. Just send me another DM in Discord. Okay, good. I didn't know if that was you or not. I was wondering. And if Jaren on YouTube, I got to make a post. Jaren on YouTube won the last giveaway video on YouTube, but I still haven't gotten a shipping address. So I think I'm going to have to make like a separate email just for this, because I don't want to lose my YouTube account to a phishing scheme. But because I realize maybe not everybody has Instagram or Discord. Unfortunately, on YouTube, I can't. We can't direct message, so there's no way for me to get shipping addresses. It has to be on a third party, essentially. But anyways, let's get to fly time. It's the same. I'll send it to you. Yeah, I appreciate it, just so I don't have to go looking for it. All right. So I'm gonna be switching around a lot apparently, but check this out. Whoa, what's this? Angler's Marketplace. Oh wow. Handmade flies, custom plugs, soft plastic, swim baits. Looking to start selling flies yourself? Live Flies Mike. Stand deal candies, $9.50. These are about like 5 inches long on 2 odds. Big game hooks. Hooks are almost like $1 a piece. But anyways, I did this as like a test to kind of figure out how it works, because I used to have a website in the past. Then Wix increased the cost from like $100-something to like $400-something a year, and all this and that, and it was just hard to keep up with because I was clamming. I started getting into commercial fishing, clamming, but now I'm doing a lot more fly tying. So, which by the way, brand new thing on the horizon. I actually just got my first in-person fly tying potentially class set up for like one-on-one or on a small group. So that's something that I might be doing in the future as well for people locally here on the Northeast. But if you'd like to help support the stream and get some flies, I'm going to be putting a bunch of flies up here. So today what we're going to be doing, and this is anglersmarketplace.com. It's anglers with a, whatever that is, a little boop, little skibbity doop, and then marketplace.com. Because I think there's 2 different websites. But, oh, you're selling some striper reels on eBay? Okay. For everyone, check it out. But, so we need to not necessarily come up with, I've been tying cinder worm flies for quite a while. We actually cover cinder worms in the upcoming video on April 4th. I'm probably going to do a video completely on cinder worms, because that in itself, and I want to sit down with Mark Sadati. Either we'll do it on his channel, my channel, we'll do both, who knows. But I want to sit down and talk and just really do an in-depth guide on cinder worm, not hatches, but spawns. So what I want to do is I want to tie some cinder worm flies, because somebody asked in the YouTube comment recently, like, hey, do you have any cinder worm flies? Where can we buy flies? So for Anglers Marketplace, because I've just been, let me show you real quick. The commercial fly tying has not stopped. You can see last Friday, we worked on all these kinky mother tails, and we tied that one up. Well, I got 20 done here in size 2-aught and 4-aught, and in this box here, let me just make sure I'm not going to knock anything over. In this box, there's 20 squimpish flies, there's guide flies, kinky muddlers, so I'm doing a ton of fly tying right now. There's a million Bob's Banners I'm working on for a local fly shop. So, but I need to get some flies up for Anglers Marketplace. So let's go ahead and tie some cinder worm flies. And I think what I want to do today is not necessarily bulk tie right now. I want to, and the other idea is I don't want to necessarily tie the same things I tie for shops and stuff, right? So I kind of want to do my own stuff. Like jungle slammers, for instance. Which, by the way, the Jungle Slammer fly tying video is going to be lit. I haven't even filmed it, but we have footage from Colombia and peacock bass out the wazoo. My buddy Jeff went down there and was catching huge peacock bass. He said they would only eat my flies. So we have some killer footage. That's going to be an awesome fly time video. I'm so excited for that. But that's going to be like a month from now, because I literally have like 2 weeks of videos already recorded. But anyways, we're going to essentially tie some cinder worm flies and do some not prototyping, but we're gonna like just crank out a couple different flies and then be like, all right, this is the one that I'm gonna post, because I have some different material here. I just actually fixed my dubbing brush table. I broke the post on my dubbing brush table, which I've used in the past on stream, and so but I didn't, what do you call it? I didn't charge up my battery powered drill or anything. So I want to make some dubbing brushes essentially, and I'll probably just wrap the body in dubbing brush. But I grabbed a bunch of different material here, and that will break up into piles. We have marabou, we have body material, we have foam. Ideally, I would use dubbing brushes. I looked, dude, they're selling like, I think it's a 6-pack of EP 1.5-inch Foxy brushes. There's like a new packaging that they have. It's like $18. I'm actually gonna look this up. Like I was like, I'm not buying that. I just can't. EP Foxy brush 6-pack. Yeah, right here. Yeah, it's $18 for 6 1.5-inch Foxy brushes. It's a lot of money. So I think we're just gonna make our own dubbing brushes using different materials. But I was gonna buy some because it's so much easier, but I was like, screw it. You know what? And then we'll just make a video on how to make your own dubbing brushes. So, haha, you played yourself. But 10% off. Yo, Southern Fly Guy, coming in with the 10 months. Round of applause. That's right. Thank you so much, my friend, with the 10 months. Exclamation mark play. Get in there. Yo, Matt, what's going on? That new Flatwind video is great and love the color scheme. Yo, thank you. Appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like and comment on it. And I'm sure if you're not subscribed already, just subscribe. And then you could, I'm going to pick a winner here in a week. You might win the fly. And Joe, whoa, Joe coming in with the $9.99. Oh, whoa, stop cutting it off, Jerry. That's right. I'm going to let this one play out. Thank you, Joe. Joe, by the way, your generosity has been amazing recently. Thank you. It means a lot. So, but thank you so much. Afternoon, Mike. Haven't caught a live for a minute. By the way, Joe, oh my God, can I gift you a membership? How do we do this? Why can't I just click your name and gift you a membership? I've been meaning to do this. This is ridiculous. Can I do it if I'm like just looking at my stream? Or maybe, I think there's like a setting in your YouTube where you have to allow people to gift you subs or some memberships. Anyways. Okay. I've been trying to figure this out. I'm going to show you right now, brother. We're going to see this together. Not that I'm trying to get you to buy a $2 coffee membership. But I just wish I could gift it to you. Like, Twitch is so much easier with this sort of stuff. Like, I could gift people memberships. What's going on, Trad Addict? How you doing, man? How do I like English Marketplace, Matt? I just started using it. But the owner of it reached out to me when they started their website. And they were like, hey, you want to tie some flies and, like, sell them here? And I'm like, yeah, I'm super busy. And now I'm trying to get it set up. But they're very nice. I don't even remember their name. But the person who, like, runs it or is part of running it, they've been like in touch with me since the start, and they've been very nice and they're like, any help you need doing this or that. I'm like, all right, cool, appreciate it. So far I recommend it. It seems like I haven't sold any flies on there. I just put those flies up. Let me see if I click your name, I can make you a moderator. I can't gift you a membership. All right, here you go, Joe. So here's a lesson for YouTube chat. All right, this is a YouTube lesson. Not Jason Statham, but you know what? Sure, I'll have Jason Statham on there, right? You gotta love how I have to watch ads for my own stream. Right here, there's usually a subscribe when you go to a new channel. So you could subscribe. Doesn't cost you money. That means you're just following the channel, essentially, or watching. You'll get you'll see when in your feed and stuff, or your subscription feed, videos. After you subscribed, there should be it's replaced by a new button called join. And believe me, I didn't know this. I've been streaming on YouTube. I'm still figuring this stuff out. If you click that, you should be able to join. We have 2 tiers. We have a $5 tier. That's if you just want a little extra benefits or you want to support. But I made a low one for just $2. I think I get like half of that, or who knows, something like that, or YouTube takes a little bit, or whatever it is. And you could just essentially buy me a cup of coffee and you get some emotes. But the main thing is you get to watch the videos a couple days early. So just as a way to support the stream. Anyways, I'm not trying to pimp myself out, but that is how you do it, my good friend. You get a patch of Fox for super cheap, and what the core is made of, and then you're good to go. Yeah, I'll actually show you, Doc. I got some. Where's my Fox? Right here. So, yep. All you got to do is just get some Arctic Fox or something like that. And also, you can use synthetics. In fact, what I really might do is just take some Sentinel's laser dub. And then take some sort of natural material. Even bucktail, I'm thinking, for like bristle type material. So, we should do that at some point, but I don't have the join button. Just the bell icon. You know what? I have no idea, Joe. It should work on Android. I have no idea what the deal is. Maybe you could open up a browser, but I just wish I could gift you a membership. But interesting. Damn you, YouTube. All right, anyways. Let's enjoy the stream and let's tie some Cinder worms. So I got some size 1 Mustad C70 SAPs. Size 1. This is their, used to be the big game. It's now their curved streamer hook, they call it. They made it thinner. Supposedly strong as well. And I haven't had issues yet, but I really like the old style. I kind of wish they got rid of it. But anyways. These are size 1. Yeah, I think you could always, like, maybe just open a browser or something and try it. But I don't know. It might be something to do with, like, the Play Store or, like, if you're on Apple product. I have no idea. I'm surprised, but... Yo, AR, what's up, man? Oh, yeah, let me pull this up. What do we got going? Why is this all the way down here? I don't know, but... There you go. For everybody on Twitch, you can always !play. Forgot to receive the gift membership, so it won't show anyways. Yeah. No, I use a Samsung, like S24 or something. So I use Android, and it'll flash it at times at me. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but it might just be, maybe it's regional. I mean, you're in the U.S., Joe. I'm thinking, so I don't know what it is, but who knows? I have no idea. All right, Google's got to step up their game, bro. You know what I mean? It'd be there if I didn't have a membership. Gotcha. Yeah, well, Joe's not a member, so it would show him as one. He would have a little badge icon or something. So whatever the conundrum is, I do not know. So, all right. In the past, there was really 2 different cinderworm flies I tie and fish. All right, there's the dubbing brush fly, which is literally just marabou, a dubbing brush, so marabou tail, dubbing brush wrapped on the body, and then I use Sentinel's laser dub or some sort of black ram's wool for the head, right? That's like one fly that I always tie and fish. The other thing is I have the articulated cinderworm, but I don't want to tie that commercially at the moment. That's just more like a fun fly. Maybe in the future, but I mean, I would have to charge a decent price because they're essentially game changers, right? They're like articulated cinderworm flies. So the other fly is a rabbit strip. I'm going to change the music because this is like some Mortal Kombat stuff right now. The other fly is a rabbit strip gurgler, essentially. And these are not original flies. People have tied cinderworm flies. I mean, there's always been like 1 pattern or 2 patterns back in the day. It's like a rabbit strip cinderworm fly. Chris Wingerm had his own one where he put like, I forgot the name of that material, but it was like some sort of like body building material. You could build the body up and it was like almost like a nail polish in a tube, like a paint. The other thing is the just marabou flies, right? Those are essentially the two flies. And maybe there's ram's wool flies like Kenny Abrams style where you just tied ram's wool on there and just like a collar. But so the Cinder gurgler with the rabbit strip is what I used to fish the most. And it's honestly probably one of the best options because I find having the fly on the surface at times is really important. Even though the cinder worms, they'll be on the surface, a lot of times they'll be underneath. But you will see the boils, and I'm telling you, the best way to catch cinder worms, or catch striped bass on a cinder worm spawn, is wait till you see a boil, drop a fly directly on it, and give it one strip or one twitch, wait, do it again, and they'll eat it. I mean, you've seen from the videos, I guess, we go over it, but like, I know Doc, for instance, folks that have watched the stream for a long time, we've done like 4 or 5 hour streams of cinderworm spawns. And like, we've literally figured it out together how to approach that bite, right? Because they would only bite the fly if you presented it that way, right? So it's pretty interesting. Why did it delete your message? I have no idea what's going on, Nelson. Psyched to check out the cinderworm flies. I've never fished a worm hatch successfully. Very cool. Yeah. And the next video coming up, it's gonna, why did it, I don't know, psyched maybe? Can I not like fix your message? All right. Maybe you deleted it? I don't think you didn't spell anything wrong. Thank you again though, Joe. I appreciate it, my friend, and thank you for the resub, Southern Fly Guy. Thank you, dude, my friend. Appreciate that. All right. But yeah, the next video coming out on April 4th is going to have a pretty good discussion about it. It was you. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. You know how many times I fished worm hatches and didn't catch anything? It's probably one of the toughest things. I'd say the only thing tougher than that is when there are crabs, microscopic crabs smaller than my thumbnail and my pinky that are molting. There's situations like that, and there's situations where they're eating shrimp, striped bass, and it's literally times you just will not catch anything. It's funny, when they eat the shrimp, we found the guys that fish plugs, giant plugs at night, were slamming fish. I don't know what the deal is with that. I'd like to figure that. It's in this one spot too. I don't know. Striped bass are weird. Good luck. I'm making videos on how to understand them better, but good luck trying to understand striped bass at times. Missing a lot of the fun stuff down there in NC. Yeah, but you have sea trout and you have redfish, including bull redfish. All right? I've never caught a redfish in North Carolina. I had an ex that lived down there, and I tried all the time to catch redfish from the surf, but I caught a bunch of bluefish. So I went all the way down to North Carolina and Florida to catch bluefish. That was fun. I did catch some speckled trout though. That was sick on a shrimp gurgler, the one that I tied the video on. So that shrimp gurgler video will catch you a ton of speckled trout. I can promise you that, Joe. In North Carolina. I don't know the beach, but it was somewhere near Wilmington. I just went and found some sort of sand natural inlet to the ocean where it looked like bull sharks would bite my legs off, and I waded out into it, and I was just slamming speckled trout and cocktail bluefish. I'm like, damn it, the bluefish. Damn you, bluefish. All right. So we have a couple different options. This is the main color because I just bought a new pack from Whitewater Outfitters, one of my local places. So we're going to use this color. This is a good color. Pale pink is kind of, I like that for cinderworms. There's also a bright, more like, I don't know, magenta. But honestly, cinderworms are either usually like kind of reddish or like this palish pink or like an orange, right, with the black heads. This color is a little bit, even though I used to actually tie them all the time with these colors, like you can see this right here, like a purple almost, and you catch fish. So, I mean, I think the idea is maybe for nighttime, purple's better. But I don't know. We're going to use the pink, and these are just regular rabbit strips, zonker strips. Yeah, you get, yeah, thank you, Nelson. Preach, brother, let him cook. As Mark Sadati says, let him cook. Okay? By the way, Gabe, flies are out in the mail, my friend. So thank you for tuning in from last month's giveaway, I think it was. Yeah, the big albies. All right. I haven't caught an albie in 2 years. You know what I'd give for a 20-pound buffalo? That's what they call them down there. You know when they're calling albies by large terrestrial mammals, some of the biggest mammals in North America, that they're pretty big. All right. I don't know what the hell this music is, but we're going to rock it. So we got some rabbit strips. These are just some small ones. Now, I'm giving you the insider. I'm going fishing with Mark Sadati tomorrow, all right? Everything that Mark Sadati talks about, I try to absorb like a sponge. Because I'm telling you, the dude's a legend. We're going to start like recording conversations for his YouTube channel and mine. Because like I'm like, Mark, we got to like immortalize your knowledge for future generations, right? Because like, you know, 40, 50 years from now, people need to know this. It's just such good information when it comes to striper fishing and just fishing in general. Like the dude's a master of presentation, understanding how to get entice a fish to eat, which is really important. That's what fishing is, right? But he talked about how if a sandeel fly is over 3.5 inches, your chance of catching a striped bass goes down drastically. Why? The rust worm, I believe it's called, or rust worm. That's the scientific name. It's something rust or rus for the cinder worm. They don't grow above 3.5 inches very often. And I think it's something that is just innately built in. This is some sort of evolutionary trait that these fish have developed over hundreds of thousands of years, right? Striped bass of evolving on this planet, that they know this thing happens during this tide. How they do it, I don't know. Why there's 100 striped bass there the night that they pop off, when there was like nothing a week before, maybe one or two fish you catch. So there's something going on where they know about this innately, or something with the moon, or they pick it up scents, you know, whether there's some sort of scent, or I don't know how they do it. And then there's another thing that they know, that the cinderworms don't grow above, or the roost worm doesn't grow above 3.5 inches. So like, it's just genetically in their system that they know they target flies this size. Now, it doesn't mean you can't catch fish on flies that are bigger than that. My buddy who doesn't fly fish actually helped me catch my first fish on a cinderworm hatch. And he was fishing. He was like, what do I use? Because all these guys were there with spinning rods, not catching anything. I was slamming like big fish on flies. I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. Finally, I'm doing it. And we looked, he had a Senyo's worm, you know what I'm talking about? Like a 6-inch largemouth bass worm. I'm like, dude, throw that. I'm like, it's just how the presentation is. And I had him like fish the worm, like just being drifted out, and he was catching them. So you can catch them on larger flies, but it's the 3.5 inch is the sweet spot. Like I would say probably 2.5 to 3 inches, maybe. I'd say 3 inches, honestly. So 3 inches from the front of a one or size 1 puts us right where the base of the regal is. So that's the length we're going for. Using rabbit strips, do you want a mono loop? A lot of times, yes, because it can foul. On a cinderworm fly, I don't want that loop there. These fish will come up and nose the fly. Like they'll literally come up and look at it, and they'll turn away on it 15 times and before another one. I don't want to put a loop on there. What we'll do is we'll use some sort of stiffer material to build a pillow or support. So probably just some bucktail. Do we want to use black instead of the pink? Let's pull up a photo of a cinderworm. How about that? That's really a good photo right there, essentially. So they always have the dark ends, right? So maybe we use pink, and then we just hit the end of the rabbit strip with some black. But look, here, this one, for instance, doesn't, right? So I guess we don't. Which, by the way, that's a great photo, by the way, of that. The head is usually darker, right? Okay. We're just gonna use pink, I think. Yeah, look, I don't think I'm legally, or legally, I say legally like Twitch is going to kick down my door. Twitch's TOS doesn't allow you to show both streams. Even though all these big streamers do it, it explicitly says it in their TOS. So, as usual, the norm with people making money on that actually make money on Twitch, they just break the rules all the time, or you play copyrighted music, all this stuff. They're like, who cares, right? Or like playing like Gordon Ramsay TV shows in full copyrighted. So me as a little guy, I don't want to get banned because they don't care about me at all. So I don't want to show. Otherwise, I put both you chats on the screen. But yeah, I know people are like, "Who's he talking to?" You know what? I'm gonna say Joe F on YouTube says, "I'll tie some up." Yeah, Nelson, I need to get into some albies here. And AR Flyfisher on Twitch says, "I keep forgetting he's on YouTube." It's like, who the hell is he talking to from chat? There you go. I'll do it like that. Very pinkish, yep. And every once in a while, I'll read chat normally, just throw you guys off. Right. How about that? I do like this sort of lavender pink sort of color, but I also have pink, which is right here. Which I think this color is probably more in line, right? Do we want flash? Does it matter? I mean, I'll throw a couple pieces of crystal in there. Even though I don't think you really even need it. Well, do we want flash? Yeah, I'll throw, like, literally 2 pieces of crystal flash in it. Just for the guy, like, ain't got any flash. Because I should have some pink crystal flash in a bag that is just loose. I'm like, I should use this stuff. Yeah, right here. Yeah, why not? Does it matter? I don't know. All right. So, again, it's very important that we don't want the fly to be too large. Anywhere from 2.5 to 3 inches. I think 3 inches is pretty good. I'm going to be honest with you. I used to fish them over 3.5 inches for sure. I don't know if you guys remember me fishing them. I used to have, like, rabbit strip ones that were, like, that long. Okay, cool. Those bins just fell over. We won't worry about that for now. So what we're going to do is go with a little bit of bucktail. Now I have this like pink, and I have this nice lavender as well. Because I want some stiff fibers here. So I'm actually going to, you know what? Let's go with this. I kind of like this color. You know what I mean? Even though it's not... I don't want to use like the exact same colors for everything. Because nothing is the exact same color. Right? That's something to think about in your fly tying. I don't know, Doc. I mean, Gabe, we do it randomly. We're going to do the follower one first, and then we'll do the sub one later. But, I don't know, usually like an hour and a half into the stream or something. Hour and 20 minutes. Something like that. Alright. But all you got to do is enter it, so you're good. You can, go bass fishing or something, whatever you want to do. So I don't want too much material here. And I only want this sticking off so much because we want the majority, even though we do want it to taper, right? If you look at the cinder worms, they have a natural taper to them. So the thinnest point is going to be the rabbit strip. We want the rabbit strip to have at least probably like 1/2 inch or 1 inch so it can like move around unhindered by the bucktail, right? So we'll probably do something like this. And I'll probably wrap the material on the shank so I don't end up with any weird bumps. You know, this will be a good video I want to do is like how to approach like fly design, even though I don't design my own flies a lot of times. You know, I do variations of stuff. It's very easy to take a deceiver, put some flash at the head and be like, oh, this is my new fly I came up with. But, so I don't name my flies a lot. But when it comes to like approaching how you're going to tie a particular fly and you're trying to come up with something or design something or you have a particular idea in mind and maybe you're trying to do something different, that could be a good video on approaching. So you're understanding what I'm talking about here, where I'm thinking about the bucktail is going to support it, but I don't want the bucktail to be too long so it doesn't hinder the movement of the rabbit strip. The other thing, though, I need to think about is I do want the bucktail to have a little length, maybe, so we'll tie in some tapered bucktail here, because I do want to get that, tapered appearance of the worm, not just being like a block in the front and then getting skinny. I want it to have that more realistic look. So this is going to be achieved by just tapering the bucktail beforehand. So I don't, having some at shorter lengths and some at longer lengths like this, right? It's okay if a little bit of bucktail is by the rabbit strip. But I want this to be a little bit longer so we get more of a taper. So the other thing I'm doing is, if I'm going to be tying this fly for for production tying use, right, for myself, I want to make this easy to tie. I'm not trying to make this hard on myself if I have to tie 100 of these, let's say. So rabbit strip, we're going to tie this in. This is going to be, I think 2 1/4. What do you think? This is a good size. This is right around 3 inches, actually. That's perfect. That's right on the money right there. We just tie it on top. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, really, okay, this will be another fly we're going to tie tonight. We're going to do another cinderworm. I actually haven't tied this in a while, but we can just do a straight up cinderworm zonker as well, which is a fun fly. So that could be interesting, actually. You see now we have a taper to the material, right? It's more bushy here, and then it tapers down to the length, right? Okay. Something I always usually do at this point with this gurgler, because again, I've been tying this for like 15 years now. Tie quite a lot of these for local stores and stuff. In various ways. I'm trying to get more standardized with a lot of my flies, so there's less variation. But we're going to go ahead and take some marabou, and I'm just stripping this off like this bunch here. I have these like small quills. We're just going to take some of this. And again, we don't want this to extend too far. We'll probably go about... we almost want this to be shorter than the bucktail, huh? I mean, there could be some variation. We're going to go 360 degrees. We're just going to tie it in, covering the top and then the bottom. And we don't want too much. But marabou slims down a lot in the water, right? But yeah. Yeah, something like this I think will be good. Because what I'm doing is I'm building up bulk in the middle of the fly, right? Because they seem to have a wider profile towards the head and the middle of the fly, and the worms are thin near their rear section, so... This is just going to give it a little bit of movement, right? And we're just going to add a little to the bottom. We don't want too much. And honestly, this stuff marabou usually gets a little beat up, so. I kind of like when marabou gets beat up on a fly and whatnot. And it kind of bleeds a little here and there onto the material, if you know what I'm talking about. People are like, oh, it's bleeding into this or that, but it's like fish aren't two-tone, right? They're always a mix of colors in the water. It's the way the light refracts off their bodies. It's part of their natural camouflage of living in the water and being predated on by everything essentially all the time. Yo, Lima, what's up? How you doing? Oh, I love all pink flies. You'll learn that over time. Before I even, I've commercially tied for like 10 years, but before that, when I was just like tying for myself and stuff, I pretty much was like fishing all pink flies for a couple of years when I lived in this other town. I was just killing it. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Hope you're having a good night. And KH, what's up? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Doing good. Can't complain. Can't complain, Lima. Watched a very interesting video. This is Southern Fly Guy on Twitch, by the way. Watch a very interesting video on how fish see color and objects underwater. Yes. So would you mind telling me, what did you learn from that video, Southern Fly Guy? I'll tell you. what I think I remember, what you find is colors like chartreuse and yellow stick out very well at certain depths, like under 50 feet, this and that. Otherwise, everything, even red, blues, they just turn like a brownish, darkish color at a certain depth, almost like black. So what you find is only a handful of colors below a certain depth in the watercolor actually stick out or stand out. Otherwise, they just become a muted, dark color. So that's why Mark Sadati fishes all yellow. Yeah, they turn like grayish, right? There you go. Like a darkish grayish color or something. Or I guess depending on the color. So you find Mark Sadati's using all yellow or all white a lot of times. Things like that. So, yeah. And that's just, and you know, and I was talking to him about this. I'm like, why are you tying them all yellow, this, that? And I was like, I watched videos where scuba divers went down with like color palettes and you could see how it changes. And he's like, you know what? Honestly, they eat the yellow ones. So this is what I use. And I'm like, it has to do probably with how they can see color at certain depths. Because we're fishing in 80, 90 foot of water off Block Island. Oh, dude, I forgot to put some crystal flash. You know what? We're leaving the crystal flash off. It was meant to be. We don't need crystal flash. It's cinder worms. They don't have flash. Okay. It was a heroic intervention, I believe. So now, gurgler strip. We need to figure this out. This is what I'm thinking for the body, right? We're just going to Palmer hackle, because that's always what I do. We'll probably go with a little dubbing on the inside for some color. Now, gurgler strips. Regular craft foam, pretty cheap and thin. Doesn't have an adhesive back. And then we have a adhesive back. It's a little thicker, and it's, again, craft foam. So what I like to do is I like the adhesive back, but you don't want that sticking right on the fly. So I'm going to cut a strip of black. And we'll probably put the black on top, and we'll have the pink underneath. And we'll have a double strip gurgler. That's what it's called, double stuff. This is a size 1 C70 SAP Lima. And you can, for sure, make a squid fly out of a rabbit strip fly like this. I recommend looking up Bob Popovic's Shady Lady. We'll tie some squid flies in the near future on the channel, on my YouTube. But what you do is you tie it longer, right? You put either tab eyes, or you take pieces of mono and glue some eyes on them, have them sticking off the back, and then do the marabou and all that, right? And all that jazz. You have the marabou, put the eyes, do another collar marabou. Lawn shank hooks, or using mono with the rabbit, and then you're going to do the head. Now you can do a gurgler if you want, but what I would do is I would probably Palmer hackle like I'm going to do, or maybe wrap some Estaz or build a body with Sentinel's laser dubbing at the front for the collar of the squid, or vice versa. But yeah, you can just Palmer hackle and don't put the foam head. But try it with a gurgler head too. I don't know. I've never fished squid flies with gurglers, squid flies, but that might be, then you might be onto something right there. We don't really get a lot of squid bites around here locally. We do have squid, but it's not like what you find in offshore rips and stuff outside Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard. At least not that I'm aware of. We catch squid when shark fishing and use them as bait out in deep water, so they are out in the ocean. But it's not like I've ever seen squid jumping out of the water and like stripers eating them like they have in Massachusetts. So I don't know. Maybe it's only a certain time of the year and I don't know about it. Like, who knows? I know out in Montauk they have a lot of squid. There's people that troll for squid with, deep sea boats out here, out in the ocean. So there is squid out here, right off the beaches. But my opinion is that bright colors imitate sick fishes or bugs. Interesting. Yeah, my opinion with bright colors is that use brighter colors during the day, darker colors at night. That's like our philosophy with striper fishing. And it just mainly has to do with how fish see light. I don't think the colors really matter. Like, you could tie this fly in chartreuse. You know, I guess it depends on how clear the water. I will say clear water color may matter more. But generally, when it comes to striper fishing, if it's light out, we use light color flies. If it's dark out, we use dark color flies. It just has to do with how they see. Because there are a lot of times, their heads are developed in a way where they look directly above. So a lot of times they hunt from below. And that's why they have dark tops and light bellies. It's part of their striped bass's camouflage. I'm just going to cut this straight real quick. But, so the theory is that at night, a darker fly sticks out a lot better against the well-lit sky because the water's darker than the sky. And during the day, you know, fish are translucent. They almost become clear a lot of times. If you ever look at a silverside in the water versus out of the water, they're almost completely clear in certain areas. That's kind of the idea. But there, you know, it all overlaps in different ways, you know what I mean? Like I love putting red in my flies because if you ever look at a bunker that's sick or hurt, like you're saying, it's a bright red. They always like the ones that are swimming like something screwed up, like especially the striped bass will target those ones that are injured or weak. They always have like reddish color because they're really beat up, you know, and they're all like bruised up and like almost bleeding or something because they've just been harassed or they've been who knows. They're like all bumping up into each other, this school of bunkers, so they could have some sort of sickness too. All right, so we're gonna have our gurgler strip here, and we're just gonna cut it like this. So we want a little excess. There's probably a much better way to do this. Probably using like a razor blade, but that's okay. That's clean enough for me. And we want this extending back a little bit. I don't like having it back too far. Now, something I will say, I don't have a lip sticking like this a lot of times. I'm going to cut that lip pretty close. I mean, I guess I'll have it sticking out a little bit, but I've found with gurgler cinderworms, you really almost, you know, we almost want to make it a slider, which we may do, where you actually cut it like this and then you tie it down and pinch it. Just so people don't. Well, sometimes what I found is the gurgler, if it has too much, like surface wake, it's almost bad at times. If you look, a lot of my flies also, it was also had to do with the length, right? But I would rip the gurgler lips off and I would just have the foam head. So I guess maybe we'll try it without the, I don't know. Because people do like it with the gurgler heads, I would say, a lot of times. Okay, so we're at this point. We're going to tie our foam in now. I'm going to go with a little... I do like having a little transition here. So what I'm going to do is take a pink feather. This is what I'm going to be using for the body of it. Don't want to go too far forward because it's way too skinny. Hopefully we can get the whole fly with one feather, so it's more economical for me. And what we'll do now is we have that. We're going to do our Senos laser double, do that in a sec. What I'm going to do here is, just to have a slight transition, I'm actually going to do this. Real quick, and then tie it back. And then we're going to tie our foam on. I don't know if we really even need to do that, but... yeah, something like this, probably. Again, I mean, you can have it sticking pretty far back. If we are trying to go for that wider body, sure. Let's do this. Actually, before I do this, little tip, you want to put super glue on here. All the super glue will go where the foam will meet the body, because super glue will actually have a chemical reaction with the foam, make it nice and durable. I want to do that first. Now what we can do is take some Senos laser dub. We're going to use this as a dubbing. Coat the inside of the body, because if you'll look and see, if you look, you know, past the hackle that we're about to palmer, it's just going to be a bare shank. We don't want that. We want to have some, like, I don't know, like a kind of buggy type material, worm material, you know? Do we want to go over? Sure. Why not? And then what I do is I just kind of wrap it. I actually don't want it, like, I'm not going to use dubbing wax and stuff. What I am going to do here is... Yeah, no, we don't need to. Because I'm actually going to apply super glue to the top before I palmer the hackle, you'll see. So we're just going to wrap this like so. just so we can add some more texture or body to it. If I was fishing this myself, would I do this? Probably not, honestly, but these aren't for me. These are for potential customers. All right. And then what we'll do is, now we can come here. Now I could wrap over with this, right? This is a very common thing that I do a lot. Is it what I want to do right now? It's probably going to break easier, so I don't want to do that. I'm thinking about durability, how durable the fly is going to be. Can someone fish it a lot or not? What I'm going to do here is go with more super glue than I wanted, so I'm going to use my bodkin to stop that. And I'm just going to run the super glue right along the top here. And then we're going to palmer our hackle. Our hackle's a little sideways, so I don't know if I'm going to do that wrap it first sort of thing. I don't know if we even need to do that, but it's alright, we can wrap it this way. We're just going to guide it. We have some super glue on there, which I'm thinking will help just make it more durable, even though we have the... Man, okay, yeah. The next time we're not going to, because I'm used to wrapping the other way, but that's okay. I'm not getting as clean of a palmer as I want. And do we want it to that bushy? Yeah, we want a little material on there moving around. It can be cloudy, they will hit. Especially with crystal flashers. Oh, the pink squid out here in Mass, you've seen him jump out of the water? Nice. When I tie streamers for my big brown trout and and bait flies for snook, I always tie a patch of red on the chin. There you go. A little gill plate or something, or maybe beat up chin. Do you add any material peacock color? Yeah. Do you mean the color specifically or peacock curl? I tie with peacock curl a lot. Especially at the top of a bait fish for that color. For the top of the back. You know, the back of a bait fish, for instance. Yeah, we love using peacock curl. Now, I'm almost thinking maybe I should use my flat wing hackle. We could tie another one of these, but you know what? That's pretty good. I like that throat on there. You want the fly to push some water, right? We put some super glue on there, which is nice. Should be more durable. And then we're going to go with even more, a tiny little bit where the thread wrapping is and the foam will meet the body. You want to splay that hackle out so you don't have the hackle crushed under the popper face. Unless you want less of a hackle, you could do that, but you don't want to wrap too hard or too many wraps. You'll actually cut the foam. Yeah, I gotta be a little careful with the super glue as well. I got a little some on the hackle. That's something to think about in the future. You can see how this isn't the best wraps, right? I gotta make sure I'm used to wrapping it away from myself. So we'll tie some more of these. You can use some different colors too. But that's good. This is like what we're going. This is the prototype. This is what I've fished for years, right? Classic fly. I don't even know if Guardside tied his own, or tied like cinderworm gurglers, but I feel like I've seen Guardside cinderworm gurglers. If anyone watches this and remembers, let me know. Oh, dude, I might need to use my whip finisher because I have, like, the cuticle here is all cut up. You know what I mean? And the thread catches it. So one thing I do want to... I am going to cut that short. I don't want too much of a head on there. That's my design of the cinderworm gurgler. I'm making an executive decision. I'm selling them with not a huge lip. I do want to kind of brush the bottom. You know, I see people using these fancy dubbing brushes. Hey, Australis Fishing!
Hello, Mike. Hope that you're well and that you've had a good fishing season. Keep spreading the word about fly
thank
tying.
you, Jim. Can I give you a shout out by clicking your name, I wonder? Jin, if we can get a shout out for Australis Fishing. This goes for everybody on YouTube as well. Make sure to check out Australis Fishing. It's AUSTRALIS, which he also streams on YouTube. as well. Jim, I saw you streaming on YouTube and posting some videos or whatever. But thank you, my friend. Thank you for the 500 bits. And yes, we're doing 4 tying videos a week. We have a new series on how to fly fish for striped bass. And I'm starting to do possibly some in-person fly tying lessons for people and stuff like that. So, you haven't done enough streaming to deserve a shout out? Oh, you always deserve a shout out, Jim. Let me, I think it's !S. Let me do it. But Jim's old school here. He's been streaming on Twitch for a while. Did that work? No, it didn't. !SO at us. Hey, there we go. Anyways, be sure to check him out on Twitch or YouTube. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. He's been streaming a long time. And one of the only people that were tying flies as well, like 6-7 years ago, here on Twitch. So, if you're in Australia, he's he knows a lot about, particularly, well, fishing in general, but Australian fishing, as well as a lot of experience in fly fishing in Australia. So, be sure to check out his channel, because we got a lot of folks here. I know we got some folks potentially on that side of the world. Might be some good info, or just for anybody in general. But thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Oh, believe me, I'm way ahead of you. I'm way ahead of you. Luckily, I did a local fly show recently, or I should say fly expo, because it wasn't a fly show. They call it the expo. And it was great. I had somebody sitting next to me tying some trout flies. And he's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I commercially tie this, that, but I make YouTube videos and I stream and this and that. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And then, like, every single person that came up to the Fly Expo was like, Mike, your videos have been amazing recently. And then I just looked over at this guy every time and I was smiling. I'm like, you see that? You see that? I'm like, it's working. They love them. But anyways, I bought 3 edge fly rods, waiting for the third to turn up. Oh, what'd you get? Single hand rods? What size weight and stuff? Are they just standard 9-foot fast action rods? Very cool. I'm assuming you got like a salt weight one as well. Because I know you do a lot of river fishing, but... Single hand. 6, 8, and a 10 weight. Oh, very nice. Yeah, that's kind of perfect, honestly. That's even perfect for Long Island fly fishing. Echo Edge. Yeah, you know, I've never personally used that brand, I think, or I'm not too familiar with them. Graphite grips. Okay, very cool. Oh man. It's about time. Luckily I'm pretty lucky. When I say lucky, I'm going to cut this like that too, cuz I kind of like that. One of my rods went off one of my customers' boats. He called me. He's like, the fishing's crazy. Come on out. I'll pick you up. I'm like, hell yeah. He's like, yeah, put your rod on the gunnel. And they're on his Contender. Beautiful boat, by the way. Yeah, we've got some photos of him in my fly fishing series. Velcro straps. And I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. I was looking at it like, dude, Velcro straps on the gunnel in like 3-foot chop. I'm like, all right, whatever. At some point we look back and I just see backing. My reel went the line went out forever. I pulled it in. It got cut off probably in a boat prop. So that 9 weight with my Australian-made TFO Hayden, they don't make that reel anymore. It was broken, but it was still beautiful. Is gone. It's probably in the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean right now, offshore. And but he did give me a 8'10" single-piece G Loomis. Beautiful rod. I mean, it's like one of the rods where it's like you try it in person, you're like, oh, I gotta buy this because it like fits me personally. But so I was lucky in that regard that I got it. But anyways, this is essentially what I'm going for. I like it. Very simple, basic. We're gonna tie another one, this time with the Crystal Flash, and this time changing it up. I think we're gonna do some different colors though. But yes, this is you know, I mean, I've fished this for how many years? I can't tell you. You know. Yeah, he felt so bad, but I did get like I don't even know. It was one of his friends' rods that left it from, and he was internet something. And he's like, oh, you keep it. So he was nice. He gave it to me, but I was like, dude, this is a serious rod. Like, those are serious money. I think it was a GLX or something, or I forgot what it is. It's a very nice rod, though. In Australia, give it up. Round of applause. Thank you for the 500 bits, and also thank you for the gift sub to KH. Appreciate that, my friend. Thank you again. All right. So let's tie another one. This time I think we're either going to go red or orange, because, again, red and orange are very popular cinderworm colors, for sure. As always. Go ahead and just get some thread on the hook here. Now, what sort of fly lines you got? Do you got some new lines set up? Because, I mean, a rod is extremely important. You usually start with the rod, but I usually tell people the line is, like, the most important thing in general, overall. Having a good fly line is so good. But I've seen you, I mean, you can cast no problem. You usually got a good setup. I've sent flies off to a friend in Shark Bay that caught snapper in 80 foot of water. So hopefully it works here. Oh, so you're going sinking, right, out in the ocean? You develop fly fishing system, allows me to fish deep. If you'd like to figure that out and then maybe message me and let me know, because I'm always interested in deep ocean fishing. I'll show you right now. One of literally my inspirations, Mark Sadati. It's somebody who I first saw fly tie many years ago. He was one of the first people that developed large flies for striped bass back in the 80s and 90s. He was really a pioneer. I am going fishing with him tomorrow. We're going to go fishing for a pickerel in a canoe. I'm lucky that I get to call him my friend nowadays. But Mark Sadati is a legend, and this is a Sadati slammer tied on with wig hair, right? Oh, you'll be doing a series on it? Perfect. I'll watch it on YouTube, and I'll share it on my... I'll make a post and share it for all the folks too, because I've been talking a lot about deep sea fishing. But essentially, we use very heavily weighted sinking lines, right? And what we do is, or even custom lines, people will make their own sinking lines out of trolling lead wire and put loops on it and fish mono. Like a lot of times how people will fish spay lines where they have shooting heads and they have mono fly line. What's the name of that? The running line, mono running line. So people do stuff like that. I've used 400 grain, 350 grain, 550 grain streamer lines from different companies. They're okay. The one thing you find that really helps is the fly design as well. This fly, when I tell you right now, I'll show you, it has 0.035 diameter. A half-inch section has this diameter of lead wire, 0.035. Yo, thank you, Wolf. Let me turn this down a little too, because that's loud. I gotta adjust the notification on that. But thank you, Wolf, my friend. Appreciate that. Everybody get some emotes in the chat. What do you call it? He takes this wire, he wraps it around the keel, half an inch. Then he ties 5 pieces wide, and he does 3 of that. So there's so much lead wire in here, but the main thing is he can cast this 100 and something feet on a 5 weight. But really what I'll tell you the reason is for fishing offshore off Block Island, in 80 to 90 foot of water where it moves 10 to 15 knots, the rips are so fast. What we need to do is the fly needs to get down deep. And what you find is bucktail flies and stuff don't sink very fast. So these synthetic flies with a ton of lead wire that help keel the fly also then allow the fly to sink at a fast rate evenly with the fly line. So he caught fish in 80, 90 foot of water. I could barely get my fly down to 60 foot of water before the drift was over the bar or the rips or these humps that are offshore. So it's really important, but it's very interesting. My buddy Mark, I mean, he's a legend. He really knows a lot about it. But yeah, I would love to see you explain some more on, you know, if you've got a system set up in terms of line and leaders and all that. I would put an epoxy head on it, drops head first. Yeah, well, it's a very short shank hook, and there's so much lead wire, so the action's amazing on it. It actually has a darting side-to-side action to it. I'm using 1 rate higher fly line for rods and work. Oh, yeah, that works great. I've uplined for many years, KH, where you put a 10 weight on a 9 weight, and I only have to back cast once or twice, and I send it 100 feet. But nowadays, a lot of lines they've really increased the weight on heads, so having heavier fly lines, you almost don't need it a lot of times. Have you found that there's less of a worm hatch the last few years? I'm going to be honest with you, Mark. There's less of everything. And this is a trend that we're going to see more and more as things change. Global sea temps rise. Fish stocks are on the decline. We have a slot size, but the spawning of striped bass has been terrible. The recruitment of new fish has been terrible. The catch and release mortality rate is higher than the fish harvested from recreational or commercial. So there's a lot of things. There's pollution. There's algae blooms. There's overfishing. There's many different things. There's, climate change. There's habitat loss. It's going to get worse. I hate to say it, unless we do some serious stuff. But even then, I mean, it's just, unfortunate. It's just marine life and everything in general is suffering a lot around the world. It's just part of how it is. We are going to see things, though, like we are going to see cobia and redfish off Long Island because we are having global temperature changes of the ocean temps. We are seeing more cobia off Long Island. Like, we're going to see different things. And we're going to see a lot of bad stuff, but we might see some interesting stuff. But I always just, my cinderworm hatches are pretty spot on every year. It's in one spot I go to. It's in May on the new moon, and I don't travel a lot and fish like multiple hatches. I have like one hatch. But I just started fishing this particular hatch about 3 or 4 years ago. So, but I would imagine that just like all marine life, there's probably less cinderworms in general. Whether it's substantial amount, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But this is another thing I was talking about with Mark. I cover this in striped bass conservation and particularly keeping fish wet. Like, I'm trying to, you notice I don't post a lot of photos nowadays of fish. A lot of the photos I have are just from years ago because I just try to handle fish less nowadays. But yeah, it's important to make sure we have good striped bass stock. So check out Stripers Forever, Saltwater God Association. Very important. I'm sure a lot of you folks know this already, but I'm sure we're going to see, I mean, with the slot change, we're going to actually start seeing larger fish, like slot-sized fish more often. All right, or bigger fish. But like, where are all the small fish? I didn't catch a single fish under 18 inches until November last year, right? Which is alarming, because usually we catch fish anywhere from 30 inches to 8 inches all year in the Back Bay. Well, have a great stream, Mike, and everyone. I'll message you when I go out on the kayak with the fly rod. Perfect. I would love to hear it and hear about it. Make some good YouTube videos. I'll make sure to shout them out, because I'm always interested in that. But thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Thank you for the generosity as well and tuning in. But I'm excited to see it. So, red and black is what we're going for next. Been there, lost my first TFO and my first saltwater fly reel running and gunning on my boat at the end of last season. Did you have it where your line was hanging off the back and like the current caught the line and pulled the rod out? Because I know that I've literally had multiple friends that's happened to. I always had the rod holder, right, on my boat, which I really need to fix my boat. Like, so again, we're tying some flies for Anglers Marketplace. In the next couple weeks, I want to get some more flies up. So if you want to support the stream, go buy some flies there and help me fix my boat, because I need to fix my trim unit. Whoa, Australis.
Great work on reaching 2,790 subscribers on YouTube, Mike.
Thank
Have
you.
you reached partner yet on YouTube?
Yes. Lucky enough. I mean, I don't make a killing, but I make enough money to where it helps subsidize my commercial fly tying and my shell fishing. So I'm very grateful enough to everybody who watches, of course, to, the folks that watch on Twitch and that sub on Twitch, but we have some YouTube members as well as I earn some ad revenue off videos, which I'm telling you right now, living in New York, it's very expensive, and tying flies for a living isn't the most profitable thing. So I'm very thankful that, I'm a YouTube partner and I can earn a very small amount of money, but still some on my videos. So, but yes, I'm very grateful. I've been making 4 videos a week now for almost 2 months, and it's done great for my channel. And I've put a lot of time and effort. Each video takes about 4 or 5 hours for various reasons, but audio and editing and zoom-ins and cuts and all that. But I put a lot of time and effort into my videos, and I think it's paying off. I think, a lot of people are watching. And I got to make more shorts, though, to be honest with you. Shorts are where the month before I was making more shorts, and I gained 300 subscribers in the month. This month, I haven't been making as many shorts. I've been making more videos because I've been doing a lot of commercial tying, just working. And I got 150 less subs this month because I just made less shorts. And some of the shorts I made got like, 10,000 something thousand views, but I was gaining like 20 subscribers from the video. So it's something to consider. Make shorts. YouTube really wants you to make shorts and short form content, Australis. Really wants you to do it. I'm sure you know this already. I think you've been making shorts, but it's pretty interesting. They're really pushing that form of medium. But I like long form content. That's what I prefer to make, but it's nice to make like a minute long version of a fly, right? So, but I have to edit that separately. You don't want to just take it from your video. It's nice to edit it itself so you have a video that is stand out, Anyways, YouTube. I'm going to shut up about YouTube for now. But thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, my friend. The generosity, the 1,000 bits, 500, the gift sub. Thank you. Very kind of you. Got some marabou here. This is what we're going to be using. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you again for the support. Bronzeback Fishing. What's up? I saw you at the expo a few weeks ago. Yo, what's up, Bronzeback? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. You getting ready for the fishing season or what? Yeah, we're tying some cinderworm flies. And I'm going to be trying to put up on Angler's Marketplace, fix my trim unit. Yeah, I really got to get my boat going because I told Mark Sadati, I'm like, dude, I got to take you out. He wants to go shark fishing on my boat, all this stuff, bluefish. So I got to get my boat set up, and then we'll pretty much just be going fishing with Mark Sadati all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of sounds like the life. So I just got, I'm going to be doing some clamming here soon, which is nice. Be making some money. I got a ton of fly tying. But I got to fix my trailer and I got to fix my trim units. That's the goal this year. That's what we said last year, but I mean, I'm sure everybody here in chat knows it, man. Things ain't getting cheaper. It's only getting more expensive, so. I'm excited to do some clamming, just get out. I've been spending so much time editing and tying, so it'll be nice to do some clamming, get out for a couple hours, and then I'll come back and work on some videos and tie some flies. I got a lot of roosterfish flies to tie, so that's what I'm going to be. I got to get started on that here soon. So let's tie one with marabou, because I don't have red rabbit strip as well. So we're going to use marabou for this. I think we'll do a gurgler as well, but we're going to do like some prototypes, right? We want to get a good amount here. So what I like to do is strip it off the side. I don't tie the whole quill in because you actually have this end piece that can foul. So what I do is I strip it off and get the shorter stuff out of there. Maybe add a little guitar riff. That well, in the future, it'll be a good reason to write off some guitar strings for a tax write-off if I record a nice riff. So I recorded a couple little beats and stuff, made some beats to play, but I've been using the YouTube music. Like YouTube has free music you can use. And honestly, there's some bangers in there, but yeah, I would like, once my dad gets back from Turkey and stuff this summer, I'd like to have more time. It'd be nice to like, I bought him he loves playing guitar. My dad taught me how to play guitar. He's obsessed with music. He doesn't play as much now. I'm like, you should start playing. I have my Line 6 unit down there he plays, and I bought him a Gibson SG a couple of Christmases ago with a PRS tube amp. I'm like, dude, you should start playing more. So I want to record music specifically for YouTube videos and live streams. So I'm way ahead of you, but dude, I'm like literally, I have like multiple jobs. I'm like, YouTube is a full-time job now as well, literally. But yeah, I really want to make some music with my dad at some point. If for anyone that doesn't know, I used to stream guitar. I used to make my own songs. We'd play. I would be drinking Guinness and vodka and cranberry, and I'd be playing my guitar behind my back like Jimi Hendrix, not sounding like Jimi Hendrix. But, it was a lot of fun. It was also very embarrassing, probably, and I'm glad that most of that stuff's been wiped off the internet. But some of you folks really enjoyed it. Intro, outro, a little tasty riff. Mostly tying some blurple bucktails and deceivers. Perfect. Talking to Mark, he says all the surf guys rant and rave. You need purple on the belly. Black on top, purple on the belly. Like some of the best world's plug fishermen that catch big striped bass on plugs will tell you it's their secret. A little purple on the belly. I'm like, yeah, you mean like all the black and purple flies we've been tying for years? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Are we sure these aren't just plug guys? All these plug guys are like, my chartreuse whistlebuster. I bought this one for $800 from Jimmy Customs Plugs. Won't catch anything else on it. Like, it's the only thing I'll use. Like, how much money did you spend on that plug? God damn, I shouldn't be tying flies. I should have took a woodworking class. Those plug guys are rolling in. They're like, there must be money laundering or something, like working for the mob. I had the balls to send it. True. I am happy I did it. We definitely sent it. We full sent our guitar playing on Twitch. There is no doubt about that one. All right. So because we have marabou here, now mind you, no bucktail, right? Wrong. We're going to do a bucktail collar around it. This time we're going to do black. Of course. Skirt. Cinder worms, hell yeah. Yo, what's up, Jake? All this shit fell over earlier. Move this. I got red or black. I use black here. Also got red. My entire feather bin fell over, as well as my other thing. Luckily, I was able to just scoop them back up. But... So true, my dad has over $1,000 in plugs and poppers. Yeah, I mean, they're crazy, dude. We should make poppers for a living, all right? You'll actually make a living, unlike fly tying. Start making poppers right now. Or start developing lures. These guys are nuts. They're like, I tell you, Jimmy's Custom Plugs, I waited out 4.5 hours in February in the rain. I'm like, what? I'm like, damn, dude. Are they that good? Oh, yeah. Revolutionary. Yeah, those plug guys don't play around, I'll tell you that right now. Do not play around. It's nothing easy. Oh, I know. That's why I'm certain to probably create those plugs consistently. It probably does cost a lot of money and experience, and time, and machinery, things like this. So I can understand why they justify, But like so these dudes are buying like plugs for like $300-$400 a piece. Crazy. What if you lose it to a bluefish? Just like blows my mind. But like tuna, I get it, because people who tuna fish and own a tuna boat just have money. If you can tuna fish, you got money. If you can afford the gas to go out to the canyon, all right, you can afford a $100 tuna lure, right? $200 tuna lure. It's like an Armani bracelet, you gotta get the nice tuna lures. But the striper plugs are, man. It's not embarrassing if you enjoy it, true. But it would definitely, no, it was embarrassing at times. Going back and watching it the next day without beer goggles, I was like, oh my God, what was... Really what made me want to stop doing it is when I was like sinning, and I was like, oh, maybe we cut the sinning out. The guitar was okay, but that sinning, I don't know about. You hate paying $10 to $12 for crankbaits? 10 or $12, but 300 you can, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna tell you right now, when it comes to surf fishing for striped bass, you'll find some of the most die-hard fishers in the world. People who will literally, I worked with a guy who's like one of the people consistently catching 40, 50 pound, 30 pound stripers in the surf on plugs all the time during the fall. They would literally, first off, he lived like an hour and something away from the shop where we worked as a mechanic. But then he would be fishing all night. He had a coffee machine in his truck. So he'd make coffee in the truck, and because you could drive your truck on the beach. And he would fish all night, come in and work, and then go out and do it again for like 3 days in a row. And he was like in his 50s or 40s. I'm like, are you on like cocaine or something? Like, how are you able to do this? Like, how are you able to literally fish? And, fishing in the surf, I wouldn't call it like a walk in the park at times. like trying to not fall into a hole and drown, and actually like fight fish in the surf and like just stand up, and keep your center balance in the waves, and like doing that fishing all night after working all day. I'm like, damn, dude, you're crazy. So that's the level that these people are on that are buying those plugs. These are like diehard, serious. Like their wife will leave them at some point, but they don't care because that bite was so good that night. Yeah, I got back issues, unfortunately. I've had back issues for a long time. And unfortunately, all-nighters aren't really an option for me nowadays. Usually because I'll get taken out in a wheelchair, but... So, let's go ahead and get our marabou, or our hackle here. So probably what I do is I just order red rabbit strips if I was tying this fly for anglers, but... We're just getting a feel. We're trying some different materials out, seeing what we like. You know what I mean? This time, I'm not going to do that weird wrap it first and then it's backwards for me. I'm just going to tie it normally. I tell you what, though. Yeah, no, this is good. I was like, do we go with more marabou? No. Stick to the tradition. Stick to the pattern. We'll go ahead and just hit this with a little whoop. Like that, because why not? Looks kind of cool. Revolutionary. This will change your fly design. Alright, let's go with a little bit of super glue here. Gabe says, I'm wrapping my 11-foot surf rod tonight. Oh, really? Are you building rods too now, huh? Yeah. Man, you're going all out. You are going all out. I probably shouldn't have put super glue that far, but that's okay. Maybe this time we go with the hackle over it. Yeah. I will say that I feel like most of the time they don't rip, but this is why I do like the dubbing brush, right? The dubbing brushes are so nice. They literally just make the fly even more durable. So, realistically, what I'm going to do is probably just make dubbing brushes, but I'm going to wrap this pretty loose because we're going to hit with the brush after through the hackle. Pull that excess off, tie her down, bada bing, bada boom. I wonder if now's the time you want to just brush it. No, we'll brush it after. Because I want that hackle to kind of peek through. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna... See, I will say, though, like... Yeah, we can wrap this way. It was just very awkward last time. Do we want to go around it? So I guess this is something to point out here. It's important to... It's actually something we probably do, maybe. It's important to... If we're not gonna actually wrap this over our foam, there's almost a better reason to tie it more forward. Because now, if I go to wrap it this way, which I usually do, there's a exposed area where this hackle is not wrapping straight up. And I feel like this is a prime area for the hackle to break over time. But that's okay. That's something to think about. So maybe we kind of do want to go over the foam. Because we tied our hackle further back, right? There's something to think about. I'm trying to be better with explaining these things more, because usually I'm just thinking this stuff while I'm tying. So I'm trying to explain this stuff, hopefully in a better way for you folks, so you can kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from when I approach this sort of thing, right? Definitely helps making YouTube videos like this. It's making me more conscious about thinking about these sort of things when I'm explaining stuff. Go with a little bit of bulk here at the front by wrapping. Would you please stop? Thank you. Gotta fix this. Couple loose wraps, now I can adjust it, because it just wasn't cooperating with me. I like having it nice and tight, my hackle. Okay, I'm gonna stop putting super glue there. You see that? That's a mistake. Doesn't help I'm using a giant Amazon bottle and it doesn't have the best tip control, but yeah, I don't think we need to put the super glue there. We'll just do the super glue when we wrap the Sinnoh's laser dub. That's just something to think about. Like, for fishing, this is probably great. It makes it even that much more durable. But for selling a fly, like, you don't want that. Just gonna make it not seem very professional. Did you get that Cinderworm book? No. No, I didn't. I'm probably going to have a discussion with Mark Sadati, though, where we're going to go over a bunch of Cinderworm flies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover Paul Dixon's Devil Worm, which Sadati said, like, there was a couple Cinderworm flies, and that was the first one that really was like, okay, whoa. This is different than all the other Cinderworm flies at the time. And Paul Dixon's a fantastic guide who I tie for here on Long Island. He's, like, widely considered. At the time, he wasn't, but nowadays he's considered, this was many years ago. At the time, or now he's considered, I'm sorry, literally like the best guide in Montauk. Like one of the best striper guides on the East Coast in general. Highly sought after. So I'm lucky I get to do a lot of fly tying for him. But yeah, and Montauk's considered the mecca, quote unquote, of striper fishing on the East Coast. And he's the one guy that's considered. He's been around the longest and he's booked year round. He's the dude. With some wire. Yeah, you know, I want to be honest with you, KH. Like, we don't really need to worry about that too much, right? Because the way we're tying it like this. But I get what you're saying. The traditional way of securing hackle is using wire. To be honest with you, I don't want to have to wrap the wire if I have to tie 100 of these. And that's another thing I need to get. And I've never used them, right? They're durable enough. It's not like a trout fly or something. So it'll be okay. I think I just need to, what do you call it? Because once this foam sits on this like this, it's most of the time it's fine. It won't necessarily, you won't have an issue. And to be honest with you, I'm probably not even going to use feathers. I'm probably going to use a dubbing brush. Which, if you've seen my Cinderworm dubbing brush video, the only reason I didn't make, or we're not doing that, is because I literally just fixed it. It was like broken. Part of the wood broke, so I fixed it and my battery wasn't charged on my drill. So like I said, we'll probably go with dubbing brushes for it, but in the past I tied it like this. It was fine without adding an additional step of super glue. Because ideally you want some nice clean ties here. But I mean, look, I'm saying that if I hand one of you guys this fly right here and we go to a Cinderworm hatch and I put you on them, you'll catch them. I have 100% confidence in this fly. We're just kind of messing around with how we want to tie it. First off, this is going to be it. Rabbit strip on top of a small pillow bucktail, a little bit of marabou, and then I'll just make custom dubbing brushes. If not, I'll just go with the Sinnoh's laser dub and Palmer the hackle. But just put super glue underneath the Sinnoh's laser dub, then Palmer the hackle, and then a little bit of glue underneath the lip. You can see this is pretty much it, right? It's very, very simple. This is a very generic sort of Cinderworm fly. And by the way, you guys need to let me know if it's out of focus. Because, like, I'm tying, I'm chatting, and I was like, oh, God. Let's zoom this back in a little bit. If it is out of focus, just let me know, though. Because it should be like this. If it doesn't look that clean, let me know. I'm trying to multitask here. How long we've been streaming? Almost 2 hours. Let's go. I'm easing myself back into streaming. I used to stream a lot. I used to be able to stream. I used to stream fly tying for 6 to 8 hours. Don't ask me how. I tie that much, but when it comes to streaming, I just talk a lot and this and that. By the time I'd be so tired. So I'm easing myself back into it. Like my voice, usually like when I first started streaming a little bit more often, like earlier this year, like talking for 2 hours, like my throat was destroyed. Like I couldn't even speak. So I'm getting used to it now. But it's been 2 hours. It flew by. So, or almost 2 hours. So we'll probably take a break here. But before we do that, we're gonna do our Twitch giveaway, our marble race, and then we'll have the second one. Perfectly clear? All right. Yo, Eric, what's up, dude? Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask. This goes for anybody as well. This is why we do this. If you guys ever have any questions, you could always feel free to reach out on Instagram or tune in during the live streams or on the YouTube video comments or whatever. But we also have a Discord where a lot of, you can join as well. But I know a lot of people don't use that. Ribbit with wire and it will stay secured, and use some colored wire. It'll be awesome. True. That is true. That is true. That would look nice. I'm just thinking about just what can I do? First off, yeah, the rabbit strip's where it's at, right? This is what it's going to be. I'm trying to think how I can, like, if I got to tie 100 of these, right? But to do it the right way is to use the wire, because then it will never break and it's more durable. So it's probably the right way to do it, honestly. But like I said, we'll probably use dubbing brush, right? Yo, Jin, what's up, brother? Marbles.
Marbles.
Marbles. All right. For everybody watching on YouTube, you don't know. All right, we've been streaming on Twitch for like 6-7 years. And last Friday of the month, for you guys on YouTube, you can watch the most recent video, like, comment on it, and be subscribed to the channel. If you're not, you get a chance to win that fly. But we give away like a flyer to a random follower and a random subscriber. And to subscribe on Twitch is like a paid membership on YouTube. So last Friday of the month, we do 2 marble races. This is the first one. And you can, guys, you could always feel free to come on over or whatever. You just got to be following the channel or whatnot. But I don't try and pressure anybody to go from one stream to the other. But this will be our follower giveaway. We're going to get our marble music. And the first follower marble to land in the pit is going to win some flies. Immediately after that, we'll open up a new one for the subscribers. And I usually have it open for a while, so like people can join, and like if they got to go look after their kids, that's fine. You don't have to be here when it happens, but I just have to be able to message you or something or let you know. Let's go to saved and we'll pull up some marble music because we have our own soundtrack for this. We've been doing this for a while. You know how it goes. Start it up, Jerry. Why is this mono? Is this only mono right now for you guys? Okay, there we go. I'm like, why is the audio in mono? Okay. All right, we're going to start this up. Good luck, chat. The first marble to land in the pit is going to be winning some flies. Thank you, Genjin. And after this, we'll have our subscriber one. All right, I'm going to turn that down a little too, Jerry. All right, what do we got here? Woo! All right, it's quite the track. Let's see what we got. We got AR Craggerol in the lead with super close behind, but Gabe saying, nah, I got flies in the mail. I want some more. That's right. Again, the first marble to land in the winner's circle will be winning some flies. Dude, look at Gabe. Gabe's he's got flies in the mail. He said, send me another package. I'll take them. Jin though, Jin with that fresh resub close behind. This is going to be a pretty short track, though. We do have obstacles. One thing you will find is obstacles are key in making or breaking your marble racing dream. So good luck out, everybody. Good luck out there to all the racers. Gabe getting hung up in the... it's like when you go to the circus and they have those scary houses where there's a bunch of like punching bags that you have to walk through. That's what we'll call that obstacle. Rabbit strip is one of the best cinderworm materials. Oh, yeah. I mean, some of the original cinderworm flies are rabbit strip. That's what markfish is and all that. Approaching the... Oh! We got an overtake here. Jin in the lead. Gabe got molasses or something. I don't know. We could have had some foul play there. I'm not certain. But Jin is in the lead and the pack is close behind. I'm telling you, the obstacles are where it's at. Approaching the paddle section with ease. Jin, a long-time marble winner. He's probably won about 10 giveaways here on the channel. He's saying striper season's coming up. It's April. It's going to be April here in 2 days. So I think I'm going to win those flies. Thank you. But the question is, will he pass the peg section? The almighty pegs have ruined everybody's dreams in the past. Oh, just like that, Gabe, see ya. I don't know what happened, but see ya. Bye-bye. But Jin, approaching the hamster tunnel, perfectly fine. I'm hoping we get at least one fatality from the pegs. Supra, I'm holding my breath. Is somebody going to go flying from the pegs? Get pegged? Is it going to be me? Who will be pegged tonight on stream? It's up to you. Jin, though, holding his lead, looking pretty good. Doc, Southern Fly Guy, AI, all about to get pegged. Nobody's getting pegged, though. Everybody's looking good, saying, no, well, you're going to peg me. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, Sir Jin, round of applause. Congratulations. I got to write you down. We got the follower giveaway. Jin, longtime viewer and mod on the channel. Thank you, my friend. I'm sure you're going to use these flies for the upcoming season. And who do we got here? Southern Fly Guy. Everybody, boo in the chat. No, Southern Fly Guy, you know what? He's taking his time. He's saying, I'm here for the sub race, baby. All right? Don't get it mistaken. But congrats, Jin. You got some flies. Thank you for letting me use some photos in the most recent video. Appreciate it. Oh. Final results. Random track. And now for the sub race. If you're a subscriber, except for Jin won. He doesn't get to win twice in a month. Hop on in there. We're going to leave the sucker open for a while. Let me write you down. Follower, Jin. For March. And then we have Wolf as well from last month, February, or whatever it was I have to send out because I thought you were a different Wolf. Jin. Very nice. Never actually fished or saw cinderworm spawns. First off, thank you, Alan, for calling it the cinderworm spawn. I mention it. I like how I mention it in my most recent video and then immediately call it a cinderworm hatch, but it is not a hatch. It is, in fact, the worms spawning. And so it's important that we say that because they aren't hatching. Like, they aren't, hatching from eggs or whatever. They're cinderworms that are reproducing is what's going on. But are you always fishing cinderworm patterns with floating lines? I usually do, just because the area that I fish is generally, you always find the cinderworms up top, higher in the surface. I mean, they're all throughout the water column, but you see the fish feeding on the surface. I don't think you need an intermediate in the line. And I think it's important having a fly that literally floats. So whether it's a gurgler or a subsurface fly. And with a floating line, you can let it sink just by waiting. But so I think it is important, floating lines, just because a lot of times we're in salt marshes. And the area that I fish has extreme drop-offs, like 8 feet right next to it. But a lot of times, you could be in a couple foot of water. So floating line, somewhat longer leaders than usual, like 9 to 10 foot probably, with maybe some fluoro at the end. But even then, sometimes I don't use that. And generally 1.5 to 3.5 inches. And it just needs to be the generic size and shape. It more comes down to the presentation. But yes, you do want flies that have a ton of action without even moving them. That's why you see rabbit fur, you see marabou, you see all sorts of material on it that will be moving in the water when it's fished. It's because these worms have so much, they're like doing this in the water. It's so hard to, they're like doing figure eights and they're doing all this crazy stuff. But a lot of times if you strip the fly, it's really tough. Like, the fish won't eat it. So a lot, like, you see some of my best bites, I've like, oh, did the camera overheat? What the fuck? Oh, the camera might have overheated. Hold on. Some of my best bites, we're going to take a break here in a second anyway. Some of my best bites were like literally dropping it on the fish. I'm surprised. I thought I put it in, I'm surprised it overheated. Hold on. Let's open this up. I mean, we have been streaming for 2 hours. We'll let this cool down for a bit. Usually that only happens in 4K, but... And it shouldn't be in 4K. I gotta double check, though. Make sure it's in 1080p or whatever. But we'll let this cool down for a sec. We're gonna take a quick little break. Maybe it's a good time to look at some cinderworm footage and talk about it while we let the camera cool down or something. I don't know. But we'll take a break while the camera cools off. I'm going to actually take the battery pack out too, because we have been streaming for a while, so turn this off. But usually it doesn't overheat, so maybe I didn't change the setting for the video. But we'll take a quick little break. Let's play our Albie highlight here, and I'll be back. Maybe we'll see what the deal is with the camera. Worst case, if it's still kind of hot, maybe we'll take a look at some cinderworm footage. I have some cinderworm footage, and we'll talk about cinderworms, being that we tied some. I bet anything, it's the tips that fish... It's the scent that tips the fish off for the worms. Yeah, it very well could be, because, I mean, they're literally releasing milt and eggs and things like that. Great info how to fish them. Yeah, really the best thing to do, Alan, is observe how the fish are eating the cinderworms and what the cinderworms are doing. In anything with fly fishing, it all comes down to one thing. Presentation, presentation, presentation. It always comes down to presentation. You could probably get them to eat a hollow fly during their cinderworm bite if you really present the fly right. Ideally, you want the fly to be under 3.5 inches, but the most important thing is presenting the fly in the way that they expect it to. Like, if you're trying to trick them into eating a cinderworm, the fly needs to act like the cinderworms. And that's your best bet. And then we can worry about all the other particulars and yada, yada, yada. But as with anything in fly fishing, it's always presentation. And that could be how whether your line needs to be tight while you're stripping a rabbit strip jiggy for perch, or it could be for whatever it may be, how you're dropping this cinderworm fly on a boil and not even touching it, right? Or twitching it, reacting to that. When I'm nymphing, I'm floating line, 9-foot tapered leader, and at the end of the leader, tippet, ring 2mm, 9-foot tippet. Wow, you're using essentially an 18-foot long leader. That's pretty crazy. People not from Bosnia call it Balkan nymphing, so basically double rod length. Wow, interesting, yeah. And you high sticking these, or are you using like indicators or something, like with big rods? All right, so real quick, we're going to take a break here. The camera shut off because it's so damn hot. I don't know why. We're going to take a look at why that happened after this. But we'll be back here in just a moment. We're going to watch our Albie highlight, and we'll be back for some more fly time. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Stay tight, all right? Yep, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the bow.
Yeah, get on the bow. All right, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, hold next to your alley. Good job.
That's sick.
All right. Nice.
Let's go! Woo! Albie slap!
Good job, dude.
Yee!
On the albacore too.
Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. Yep. Oh my god!
You gotta turn the boat so I can cast. Oh my god, dude! Alright, get back to catching him, Diego.
You can't go on that. There's a shark.
Frigates!
Howdy?
Frigates.
Frigate.
Whoa! Whoa! Okay, oh. We're back. Let me see why this camera overheated. It shouldn't be overheating. But let's take a look. Oh, it is in 4K. God, no wonder I never changed it. No wonder why. I'm surprised it lasted that long. Alright, what we are going to do is let the camera cool down for a bit. Oh, man, I'm surprised it lasted an hour and 40 minutes. Wow, it actually overheated and shut off. Well, luckily it has that feature, but I'm an idiot for leaving it in 4K the whole time. But what we can do is go here real quick. Give me one sec. We'll pull up some cinderworm footage and let's talk about cinderworms, being that we've been tying cinderworm flies. Wow, I can't believe I left that on for that long. Where is that cinderworm footage that I saved? This is it. This is an hour 30 minutes of cinderworm stream. This is streamed back in 2022 on Twitch, I think. Unfortunately, last year I did a stream and it was even better and I didn't save it. This year I'm hoping the quality would be better on my streams. I still haven't figured out the comments thing, but I might need to pay for some premium feature or some BS, but we'll see. All right. Yeah, let's let the camera cool off. Well, this is actually a good time, though, to have a discussion. Let me see if I can... yeah, whatever. We'll leave it. We don't need a face cam. It's fine. Okay. So this was back... We can cut the music. This is back in 2022. And probably the night or two before full moon. And what we'll do is, this is a while, we at some point noticed, I forgot if I caught a fish, but at some point we noticed something going on. Yeah, and we walked back. Inland. And we saw these boils, and we're like, oh, dude, this looks like... And then we see cinder worms, and we're like, oh. Inland. They're literally right next to us. So, like, you can see I'm actually 15 feet to 10 feet back from the edge of the water. Fuck, I cast it on top of it. It's important that you don't, like, they're literally, it gets pretty deep. I'd say it's probably a foot or two right next to the edge, and then it gets pretty deep in some areas right next to it. I think that just boiled on my but the fish come right up to the edge of the grass and eat. So I actually had most of my, like, a good amount of my line in the grass for this. Because the fish, look where the fish were. You know, like, I spooked that fish with my line right there. I'm fishing a cinder worm gurgler. Oh my god. Oh, it just boiled on my fly. Oh, dude, they're right there. I'm like, Aiden. I'm like whispering, because you don't want to yell when this is going on. You want to be quiet. You want to walk really softly. You don't want to make a lot of noise. And look at the amount of fish that are feeding. They're just like, just boiling, lackadaisically slurping up cinder worms. And you can see I'm stripping a lot here. Come on, my fly's right in the middle. Right? And I'm not getting a lot of hits. No hits. God. This is crazy. So what does that mean? That means I need to change my retrieve. I think I also maybe increase my leader length at some point. But really what you're going to see is, watch. At some point, I'm going to drop it right where the fish boil, and then look right there, a fish follows my fly right there. If I left the fly still, I probably would have hooked a fish right there. Oh my god. So what I start doing is I try and start targeting the boils specifically. I'm telling my buddy Aiden, I'm like, yo, walk really quietly, don't make a lot of noise, stand back from the grass. It's really important. But I see you're not using an indicator cage. Yeah, I think we call that high sticking here, and that's how I like nymphing if I do. But right now, I still haven't gotten it through to my head. Like, I need to not twitch. I need to not strip it as much. Oh, fuck, I just cast it right on him. Shit. See, I just cast it over like 4 or 5 fish. There's fish out there. Like, far out, but a lot of fish close. Oh. See, one boiled on it right there. He just tried to hit it. That one tried to eat it. Come on. But I think I'm moving it. If we hook one, I don't know. Sometimes they want it moving. Sometimes they don't. It's important to really just change it up. You have to change your retrieve a lot. Look at that fish like swirling right there. You could see the silver. I know the quality's not that good. I got to make sure I bring a GoPro for this because stream footage is not good enough for making videos, unfortunately. This is what you... But I mean, it's really good example of cinder worm bite. Look at that right there. Look at them boiling right there. You can see the fish come up. It's so cool. I mean, honestly, what I should do right now, I should just leave my fly right there, like that. Sitting next to cinder worms. And the rabbit strip's just moving. You see, there's cinder worms right next to it. If you could see the little wakes, there's little cinder worms swimming next to it. You can see the silver flash. At times, I will say, this is not a true swarm. There's not so many cinder worms that there's thousands. I would say there's probably hundreds, maybe 500, maybe 1,000, but there's not like 15,000 cinder worms. When there's things like that, it's way harder to catch fish. Look at that. That fish just went for my fly right there.
right there.
That
You
was...
can't see it's behind the grass.
So this was a really hard bite. Like, we weren't catching a lot of fish.
This is the shit that I live for, dude.
But you'll see once...
Right here.
I think a lot of the hits are going to be when I drop it.
It's really
And within
fucking
3 seconds, I get an eat.
like this.
But this was really cool. They were right next to the grass, and the worms are right there. They were coming out of the substrate.
I'm like sight casting.
Yo, what's going on, Rabid Penguin? Yeah, hop in there. We got our sub giveaway going on in the marble race. We're watching some cinderworm footage because my camera overheated because I was an idiot, but... And you can hear me freaking out. Still to this day, I act like a kid when this sort of stuff happens. I can't help it.
With my line in the grass. This is fucking crazy.
So it's really tough, like... And sometimes it just takes a bunch of cast. Foam top shrimp you posted up? Oh, nice. You tied some of the gurglers? Hell yeah. Trying to get largemouth with them? Oh, they'll work, dude. You tie some rubber legs. Leave the rubber legs nice and long. And maybe put a weighted dumbbell eye at the front underneath the foam so it jigs up and down. The Albie Blitz video never gets old. It's epic. Oh, yeah.
I don't want my line. I don't
Yeah,
want
we've
my
watched
line.
that video for like 5 years on Twitch every break, and I still get excited every time I see the Albie video.
I don't know what the play is.
See, I'm even talking about it. Like, I don't know what to do here.
To imitate
I'm not
this
catching
is-
anything.
I might rip the foam off. the
See,
side.
and now look what I'm going to do. I'm going to rip the lip off of the foam on the head
There you go.
because I think it's too big. Because look at the size of it. This is probably over 3.5 inches. So I'm casting, leaving it like back casting more and more, waiting for the fish to
A
boil.
lot less.
It's like trout. You know how like you wait for, you'll cast the dry fly 30 times to like dry it out, if you know what I'm talking about. And you're waiting to see a rise or something, or you're waiting for the, whatever. I know you don't want to cast it right after they rise because they have to swim down, but you get the idea. So I'm like looking for boils and then I'm dropping it. Because that's a classic thing. If you're ever fishing at sunset or night for striped bass, and there's fish boiling, but you're not catching them, just wait and drop it right on them. It works most of the time because they might not always get the bait that they're after, right? What's going on, Roman?
Oh my god! Eat my fly, damn it!
So, I think when do we get our first
They're
fish
so
here?
stacked in here, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, there we go. See,
Fuck.
there's our first bite. So I was just waiting till till the boils, and then I just threw it right at the
under
boils.
surface right now.
There's like 4 or 5 fish right in that area in this pocket.
We're gonna get him. I don't think it spooked the other ones too.
And it's interesting. Sometimes I throw the line on the back of a fish and it doesn't get spooked, and then sometimes they do. They're very skittish. It's interesting. I think it has to do with also how many fish are around and how they're feeding, and they also they probably amp each other up. If one fish is like going crazy eating a bunch of cinderworms, the other fish are more likely to like not care about my fly line. I don't know.
Inches of water, by the way.
This was, I gotta say, this is one of the best examples of like what it's like to fish a cinderworm hatch in the Northeast. There's probably like 30 something minutes of me just not catching anything and trying to figure it out.
Line sitting on the grass. That's what I'm thinking.
Hey, shark fisherman,
Crazy.
how you doing?
This is so cool. This is probably one of the best cinderworm bites I've had in years. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
this is
a
one of
cinderworm
the
bite
like
this
this
strong.
is some of the best activity I've ever seen. There's a lot of fish in this area. There's like a little bowl here. And the current's going, it's moving from left to right here. So all the cinderworms get sucked out. Look at that. The fish is boiling underneath my leader. You see I'm focusing a lot on this little area where these fish are boiling, but what I've just learned in this particular cinderworm bite and just cinderworm bites is you really got to get it on the fish.
Then I'm gonna hook one and it's gonna go nuts.
I wonder though if just, there we go. I wonder if just dead drifting it was the key, you know?
Bass just stacked in here.
Look at all the fish boiling there. So look, we're going to
I think
hook
I've
one
had the
now.
best
And I'm
hook
stripping
that
it. I'm
I've
still
ever-
just stripping it.
I've had the most follows like when I'm moving.
Looking at Jay's footage. Jay's in the chatter. I don't know if he's still here, but I included his footage in my fly fishing for striped bass series.
This
Oh,
little fish
I
is
gotta,
crazy.
it's like I'm holding my breath. Look at this. Oh, this is the dry fly.
There we go.
I dry flied that shit.
I literally dry flied
We gotta go back.
bass.
Look at this.
In here.
So this is like, you know, and I talk about this. You ever see in like Patagonia where there's these holes out in the fields and there's like rivers that go underneath the grass and there's these pockets that are deep holes and your line is in the grass and you're throwing these dry flies, big cicada looking things. This is what that felt like. I slap down, bloop, and I just slowly pull it, not strip it.
There we go.
And that was it.
I fucking. I
That was
dry
so
flied.
cool.
I literally dry flied that fish.
I dry flied it.
Oh.
This is a nice fish too. I think it's the biggest one we got was the first fish we landed. 8 weight or 7 weight. I think this was a 7 weight. I don't remember. Floating line, 30 pound to 20 pound.
Oh,
I don't think I was even using
look at
fluoro,
the
but
size of this fish, dude.
it's a nice one. This is like
Nice
keeper
one.
size. And I think really if I just made the fly a little shorter, we might start catching more fish.
Look at the size of this thing.
Which by the way, years ago I get freaked out over keeper fish, like just
That's a
29
keeper bass
inches.
right
Like,
there.
yeah. In my Twitch streams, people were loving it when I was catching big bluefish. I get freaked out. I'm like, oh my God. They're like, haha, this guy's crazy. I love it. Like random people. And then in my YouTube videos, people are like, God, you're an idiot. My YouTube videos, I'm like catching big fish. I'm like, oh my God. People are like, what a moron.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. That's so sick.
they're still boiling all over. There's a fucking rip now. They're
And it goes into the night. I think right now we should start figuring out. We start catching more fish as it's taking a while to load or something, or maybe I lagged.
what the fuck is that?
Or it started moving with the tide too, so this is important. The cinder worm started moving to different areas with the tide. They were getting sucked out, so we had to start moving with the tide further and further down. But it starts going into night.
I'll take another one though. Another 30-incher. On the
So I think it's a lot of like slapping it down right where the fish was. And it could be random at times. It really is tough. You're gonna have to just try different things all the time.
Slap it down right there. Doesn't work every time.
And I think what you find is the bass, they turn on the bait. They come up and turn and do a 180. And I think at times they'll like come back immediately after to the same spot. Or another fish will be behind them or something. That's why slapping it down and right where the boil was is working. I don't know what it is. It'd be so cool to have like a GoPro in the water in like a stake.
Very carefully fight.
I think we could literally do that too because like you just put it down on the edge and you could probably get some sick footage. I mean, it's pretty dark is the issue, but yeah, we're just letting my camera. Oh, there we go. Look at that, slowly stripping it, and I was about to pull it out of the water. I think having it's not strip, you want long, smooth strips. The cinderworms don't go jerk, jerk, jerk. They go like, they swim in a very fluid motion. So I wonder if a ultra slow two-hand, but almost like if you're real slowly reeled in, you know, like that sort of retrieve. If you're gonna retrieve that's what you do. Otherwise you pop it or strip it very lightly and then let it sit for like 15 seconds. But I mean, I was catching them, stripping it. But that's something I'm like, just from looking at that footage that Jay got of the cinderworms, how they swim and stuff, you know. But it's something to think about. Like, you got to think about why you're not catching fish. And I'm sure people here have experienced this where you've just seen, 50 bass in front of you or whatever fish you're fishing for, and they're going crazy and you just can't catch anything. There's different times of the year, different things that happen, right? And real hatches, like crab hatches or things like that, where there's microscopic crabs or... So I'm going to make an in-depth video on cinderworms. I'm hoping to get footage this year. That's a nice fish, too. I mean, these are all nice fish. This is the sort of size fish you're going to be catching, this 26 to 30 inch. Not a lot of
Dry
small
fly-
fish.
dry fly
In the
fishing
past,
for
we used to
striped
catch
bass,
small
am I
fish.
right?
There's just not small fish. I don't think there's a lot of small fish nowadays, which is not good for the future of stripers. But
Pretty much what we're doing right now.
I think the past like 5 years of spawning haven't been good. So those are the small fish you would be seeing in the back bays. But I mean, they are in some areas, but I just haven't been seeing as much. But this was in 2022 though, so I think it was like 3-4 years ago, something like that. 2-3 years ago. Anyways, let's see. I want to maybe when it gets closer to dark, because I mean this goes into nighttime. Catching more fish. Here we go. This is when it really starts popping off at times. But you see, I mean, we were a couple hours early into the day, right? Fishing.
Oh no.
2015 class carrying the species. Yeah, exactly.
Good luck trying to catch them.
So that's why it's important. Like all those slot size fish you catch, you need to. If you're not going to keep them, you practice catch and release, which I do. We really need to minimally handle these fish. Debarb your hooks. So if you
Oh, is this the bass that I caught earlier?
hook them in the gills or something,
He was No, that was the one that I released. He was sitting in the grass.
the fish got turned around. It was just sitting in the grass. But so like really, and we got to try and do what we can to preserve this class of fish because they're going to become the breeders. That we need to essentially sustain our striper fishing. So, yeah, I don't know. I really hope the legislation that they took works, but we'll see what the deal is. Because, I mean, Mark Sadati told me there's an interview with some guy. He was like, I forgot his name, but he's a world-class fisherman. The interview starts with this guy crying because he's literally mourning the loss of a striped bass fishery. Because if you were around in the 50s and 60s before the moratorium or a certain time after the moratorium, and when I was growing up in the 90s, fishing for striped bass with plugs and lures and stuff, I mean, the stuff you saw was definitely, the fishery was at a different class at that point, right? So, like, I feel really bad for the younger people growing up. They are not going to, and hopefully it gets better, but it may not be for another 10, 20 years. Looks like you're stripping right up to the bank. Alan, at some of these points, it's like at least 2 or 3 foot deep right next to the bank. And at certain points in these areas, it's like 6 foot right next to the bank. But earlier in the footage, the fish are right next to the grass. I mean, the fish are like coming into the grass and eating almost. So like I had some of my best eats with my leader in the grass. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. The fish are literally 5 to 10 feet in front of me. They're just right there. And these are sod banks, mussel banks. And this is essentially a giant salt pond, if you will. It's not really a salt pond, but it kind of is. So it's muddy bottom, warms up, and it's the right substrate where these worms live in, But yeah, the striped bass, look up stripers forever, support them. They're the best. They've been around forever. And then the Saltwater American Guy Association with Peter Jenkins from Saltwater Edge helped found that. And that's like one of the best foundations out for protecting striped bass fisheries and other game fish. But stripers forever. They want to make striped bass a game fish, which I full-heartedly agree with.
It's like fishing for trout or something.
The amount of money that is earned recreationally off the recreational fishery is in the billions. Look at that boil on the fly, dude. Compared to, but that being said, I do commercial fishing and stuff. We still need a commercial fishery, but a sustainable one. So that's the whole idea: is you have a healthy fishery for bunker, so you can commercially fish them, you can recreationally fish them. All the marine life can sustain itself, like what they've done. Our menhaden populations are fantastic, especially now that we put more regulations on the super large companies that kill the majority of bunker every year, not small scale guys like us. But yeah, unfortunately though, like you got to realize, like bait fish are one thing, but game fish are another thing. Like the higher you go up the food chain, the higher the species is more susceptible to feeling the consequences of climate change, pollution, overfishing, whatever, you know what I mean? Like the higher up the ladder, there's more things that can go wrong, and all the smaller things that get eaten by the bigger stuff, so, their populations go whatever, and then it's like a chain effect, right?
Is he? You're gonna catch him?
But yeah, look at that. I mean, it goes into the dark, nighttime. Have a headlamp for a red lamp. Most of the time I don't fish with lamps, you know what I mean? Just don't grab a bluefish at night. That's a nice fish though. Look at that. Last year we got our best fish like in the middle of the night. But this is your classic cinder worm fishing right here. You're like in people's backyards. Essentially. You're in rich people's backyards. All right. Oh, I think the camera should be cooled down. It's not in 4K. I'm going to double check. I'm surprised the camera didn't explode after. Now, it wasn't recording, but just screen capturing in 4K heats up really quick. Yeah, we're good. HD, not 4K. Perfect. Hopefully I didn't damage my $1,000 camera body. All right. There we go. Yeah, I got overheated. I was in 4K, unfortunately, but that's okay. All right. You missed the follower one. Jin won the follower one, but we do have the sub race, which we're going to be doing here in a little bit. We're going to tie like one more fly here. I am going fishing with Mr. Sadati tomorrow, so I got to go out, pick him up. But we're fishing early at like 10, so I'm not going to be streaming too late. Let's whip up another fly here. We tied some cinder worms. So essentially, I think this is what we're just going to do, right? Basic. I'm probably going to make a custom dubbing brush, though. We're not going to go with hackle. I'm going to make a custom dubbing brush, probably using pink EP fiber or something like that. And I'm almost thinking of sprinkling a little bucktail in there so I have these stiff fibers poking out of the EP fiber. So it kind of looks like the little bristles. That's kind of my idea, right? But so that's probably what I'm going to do. But these are classic, right? Fantastic flies. What I do want to do is we're fishing in a kettle pond. Or no, we're fishing in I don't think this is a kettle pond. This is considered a pond. It's essentially a lake. I'll actually show you guys. You want to see? I have some footage. I know we're looking at a lot of stuff today as opposed to, I mean, we tied a good amount, but I got to show you some classic Sadati footage. So this is testing Pyara flies for Jeff Lamonaco, my buddy. He went down to Colombia, caught a ton of giant peacock bass, and on all my flies, which are Sadati slammers with dubbing brushes, I'm calling them jungle slammers with the approval of Mark. But this is a 10-inch articulated, or not 10, it is a 10-inch tandem hooked Sadati slammer with a dubbing brush head, ton of lead wire. And I was testing them out, and these are largemouth bass that we know for a fact are eating adult river herring. The river herring come in through culverts. The other day, there were 6 ospreys, and they were diving right next to me and Mark, grabbing herring. One had a largemouth, I saw it. But we could see the silver clear as day, and we know that there's herring coming. So, like, what do you call it? That fish ate a 10-inch and a half or like 9.5-inch tandem hook, perfectly hooked in the corner of the mouth. Yeah, largemouth and pickerel is what we're going for. He was catching a bunch of panfish too on rabbit strip jiggies. But so I can fish for them largemouth at home? What? But yeah, so these guys are eating river herring, spawning river herring, like 10-inch. So we're going to be, I want to tie some flies for this. I've tied some big boys, but I got some hooks. We could tie another one, maybe a little smaller or something, or we just tie another big one. Now, mind you, this is probably going to take a little while. Maybe I tie a single hook version, because I don't necessarily need a tandem hook for all of them. We'll tie kind of something like the jungle slammer-ish, but we won't go too crazy. Also, before we do that, let me put all this material away, so I don't have to do it after the stream. Zoom out a little bit. Camera's nice and cool. But yeah, they're actually eating, and this is not something that happens everywhere. They're actually eating 8 to 10 inch baits. So, oh, the slammer? Oh, hell yeah. Now, mind you, you need to make sure that there's something that they're eating that's that big. Now, largemouth, any bass, they'll eat big stuff, whether or not there's baits that big. Out of predatory strikes, out of defensive strikes, they'll bite it. But if you can find a situation where largemouth are eating big golden shiners, or I don't know what the baits are, right? Or juvenile rainbow trout or something, let's say, that are being stocked, then yeah, fish slammers. Swing them in the rivers or something, or in lakes. And you'd be surprised. You're going to catch big. I mean, we got out there, I made 3 or 4 casts, and I caught that fish. I don't know how big that fish was, but it was decent. You could see the belly on it. And, Mark, he goes, whoa. He goes, they ate that fly? And I showed him the size. It was a big slammer. It's like essentially a striper or musky fly. And he's like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, there's something going on here. I told you, they're eating these herring. So we were like, we got to come back here and investigate this, because this is, I think there's a possibility for big largemouth, or I'm talking about trophy-sized pickerel. Like, I know for a fact, I'm telling you right now, the state record's 8 pound 1 ounce, all tackle for pickerel. I know for a fact there's pickerel that are bigger than that on Long Island. I'm talking about pickerel that are like 30-something inches, like almost 40 inches. The problem is catching them. They're so smart. I've had them come up into these lakes and canoes, come up to little largemouth that you have hooked, and they'll just look at it. It's like a submarine. Like, it looks like a muskie, but there's no muskie or pike out here. They're just pickerel. Now, mind you, they don't get super fat, right? They're usually skinny. Some of these fish, I'm telling you, they looked like a muskie or pike, but we know for a fact they're chain pickerel. So I know some places that I'm going to try and go, right? Because usually I'm striper fishing, but I'm almost certain you can get a state record, if not the fly record, pickerel on Long Island on the fly. Like, imagine getting the all tackle state record for New York State, but on a fly. You know what I mean? The problem is, like, you gotta I don't want to kill the fish. Like, I think you can weigh them, or you can like just at least measure the length. I think it's by length for catch and release. I forget. You have to bring but I don't know. It's interesting. I don't really care about records, but if I can catch one that I know is, and like just weigh the net and I know it's more than 8 pounds, I don't even care if I get the record. I just know, that I did it. So, because I mean, for a fact, there are pickerel I know this dude, I met him. I used to work at a skate park. He used to come to the skate park. He saw me tying flies. He's like, oh, I fly fish for panfish. He was doing the art where he paints the fish and puts them on the rice paper, the Japanese art. And he's like, oh, God, yeah, come to these ponds. He turned me on to these ponds because I was striper fishing, and I was fishing other lakes in other parts of the island. So he turned me on to these kettle ponds in the woods that I didn't even know about. They were like out in the middle of the woods that were formed by glaciers. And on his wall was a pickerel mounted that was like 36 inches. I was like, whoo. He's like, yep, caught that here. And I'm like, then I started seeing fish that size there, every couple weeks on a trip, you'd see one come up to the boat looking at a half-pound largemouth we had hooked on the fly. So I'm telling you, dude, we're not going to that spot. We're going to the lake where the herring are. But yeah, there's some serious fishing going on. So hooks. Where's all that stuff I got? Here we go. These are 2-aught minnow hooks. I'm going to use one of these. These are pretty, I use some of the Arex blue water for these peacock bass flies, and they work pretty good. These are the minnow hooks, which aren't necessarily the same. I will say, though, this is like a pretty serious hook. It's a little bit shorter length. That's fine. This fly is going to be a little bit smaller. I have 10-inch, 12-inch flies, and I don't feel like tying one right now because that'll take an hour and a half. So we're going to tie something a little smaller. Try one of those tweakers. I'll take a look. I don't remember exactly what you're referring to. I'm sure I saw it, but I've been I like dream about YouTube fly tying videos and flies nowadays, so I'm like losing my mind. So I want to tie a herring. Herring are blue, yellow, and white most of the time, in my opinion. Now this is a Sadati slammer essentially in its core, right? this, whatever we're going to tie right now, this isn't a particular fly. I mean, I'm just going to tie essentially a slammer. I don't have any particular thing in mind. This is when I tie my flies for myself. The colors, whatever. I know I want to tie a herring. I know the profile, the shape. I think I know what materials we're going to use. But for a slammer, most important thing, and you know what? We're going to do it right. We're going to do it the way Mark does it. Now, this is a 2-aught minnow hook. Do we want to use 0.035? We're going to do it right. So, we're going to wrap our wire like Mark does. Now, I got to ask him how he starts it. Like, does he have a tiny tag end? Like, this is one thing I don't like. It's like, do you start off with a big chunk and then you wrap it? But I think we do it like this. Should have probably grabbed more wire, but he does about 1.5 inches. We can always tie more on. The reason why he puts that wire on there, let me zoom in. Deer head game changer with a pheasant tail. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. The reason why he does the lead wire is because he can actually then, it's wider. He can put more lead wire on the shank. You know, I kind of do want to tie an articulated version, but I have to go get my wire and this and that. It's fine. We'll just tie a single version. Let's go ahead and just, I guess, continue this. Ideally, you want a single piece of wire, but whatever. And also, I think this is 0.025, so this is a smaller diameter, but that's fine. Yeah, if we did a single piece, it'd be much easier to tie. I'm just using some excess stuff I have. The whole idea behind this is it not only makes the fly easier to cast when you keel the fly, but you're also adding weight to it, which will make it then in turn easier to fish. It'll turn over better and it'll sink better and all that. It'll have fantastic motion too. Something about these keels that I didn't think about much of the time, because you don't get to really observe your fly as well when you're fishing for striped bass as you do when you're fishing in a lake for largemouth. But the darting back and forth motion of these flies is crazy. Let me actually fix that. Yeah. It's okay if there's a little gap there, whatever. And then we'll put some small shanks on the bottom. I think he does 1.5 inches. He does 5 pieces, 3 high. This is, again, smaller, but, you know, you don't question the master. So it's going to be the same length as well. So you'd be surprised adding a bunch of weight makes the fly easier to cast. How? Heavy flies are flies that feel heavy a lot of times are terrible to cast. But it's about where the weight is and how it's balanced. And it's got to be, I told Mark, there's got to be somebody out there that's smarter than me and him that has a physics degree or something that can explain why adding mass to something then makes it easier to cast the fly. Like, why is adding mass to the fly, like weight, in the right area? So there's got to be some, you know, something to do with balance, you know, I don't know, right? Now, mind you, we would normally have a wider hook, so I think we could tie 5 pieces. I'm going to stick to 3. This is, you know, this isn't the biggest fly. And you know what? I think that's enough wire. This is a size 2-aught, right? This, most of the time, I find is like more than enough in reality, right? So that should be all right. Hey, Trout Coach, what's up? Glad I found your channel. I'm local. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Do you, let me see here. Do you make videos as well? Do I need to give you a follow or something? Yeah, I'll subscribe to you. Very cool. Nice, fishing all on island. Love to see it. We're glad to have you here. The fly is in balance, it'll spin around and mess the tippet. Yep. So if the fly doesn't turn over, you fish a striper fly and it swims on its side, a lot of times, It has to do with the fly, but also it could do with your leader. Like having a properly set up leader is very important as well. Having enough leader material to turn the fly over, even if the fly is properly balanced. Like if you fish this fly with 2-pound leader material, it'll probably just spin around, right? Nice. We're glad to have it. Thank you for joining us. All right. Sadati Slammer style. A lot of synthetics, but I'm going with feathers and a flash tail. That flash tail. And Mark was, he was big on the flash tail. I think he had something to do with help promoting the flash tail's popularity. Him and some other anglers. But we're going to go ahead and I didn't really leave myself enough room, but you know what? We're going to just cheat and kind of get this in there. Normally, I probably should have moved the little lead wire a little bit. Whatever. It's late in the stream. So we're going to I got some hackle here that I was tying rooster fish flies. I have 300 to tie. Wish me luck. We're going to go ahead and tie these in. Now, this is a trick from giant trevally flies. If you don't want the feathers to foul, you want some additional action, tie them in at the stiff part of the quilt and then angle them upwards like this. And it'll be more or less likely to foul. So that's a little trick right there. That comes from giant trevally flies and saltwaterflies.com. But yeah, it's a lot. I bought every Gamakatsu SL12S and 4-rod on the East Coast, I feel like. Now we were tying those last year, but that's not even that order. That's a different order for another dude. But I should just be tying that on stream for the next month. But what I'm gonna do after I get off tonight is work on that. I was gonna tie a bunch of pickerel flies, but really I need to work on those roosterfish flies. We'll go with one more white hackle here for some action. Yeah, this is for a person who puts together, or a company that puts together groups. So there's a group of, 20, 30 guys going down to Baja, whatever it is, 10, 15 guys. And we're tying the flies for them, so. It is quite a lot, but that's what you do. Gotta pay the bills. So we're gonna go with some flash. What color do we want? I think I used I'm gonna use this. I like this color. It's different. I think well, we see a lot of silver, honestly, right? So what happened to my it's my Bob's Banner flash. Yeah. Give me my cheap Chinese flash that I bought from somebody outside a Subway or something. I bought like $50 worth, and I'm never going to have to buy silver flash again. It's not Flashaboo. Don't get it mistaken. Silver flash. I will never have to buy silver flash ever again in my life. I have literally a box of this stuff. So we're going to go ahead. Flash tail, you want it sticking out not only at least about an inch behind the fly, but we want it to be uneven. I cut it evenly just because I was lazy. Mark was like, I guarantee you if you cut that flash to different lengths, you'll get even better action. He's like, I don't want to criticize. I'm not criticizing your flies. But I'm like, you know what? You're totally right. You are totally right. And I think we should do that on the next one. So that's what we're going to do on this one. We're not tying it to the same length. We're going to like stagger my scissors where I cut. So it's different lengths. Just like that. And I like that. This fly is probably right around 7-8 inches. This is about the size that we were tying them for Jeff, single hook size for the peacocks. Jungle Cock Jeffy catching the peacocks. All right. Real quick before we start tying, I'm going to wash my hands real quick because I've touched a lot of lead wire and I don't want to. It's always a good idea to wash your hands after that. So just give me 1 second. I bought a bunch of stuff to pour lead jig heads in the past, and I was gonna make my own bucktails, do custom bucktails, and then I tried it, and I was like, I am not gonna give myself lead poisoning working with lead this much. I already hate working with lead. This I don't mind, whatever, but always be sure to wash your hands after touching lead like that, and not touching your mouth, or like I was touching my drink, and my drink's perspirating, so I don't want the lead wire on there, and like then you're eating and stuff, or whatever, right? I wish I had that much flash. I should probably just send you some flash, to be honest with you. So, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, I always recommend every once in a while, like, refresh the stream. I noticed my browser thing, and I have it set so it's supposed to be good. And I feel like most of you folks, if you can hear me right now, like on YouTube, type a 1. I want to see how many people like the response time. But I think sometimes the way YouTube works is Twitch will automatically refresh it. YouTube, you could be like an hour behind. There you go. We got Nicholas in there. Thank you. Well, how you doing, Nicholas? So every once in a while, you might just want to refresh, because on my browser, it showed like 40 minutes ago. I was like, what the hell? So it's probably just something with how there's a delay that develops over time. But I think most of you folks are probably tuned in at the right time. But every once in a while, when you see somebody like, it used to happen on Twitch, it depends on their internet connection or mine. You would see somebody type something that we were talking about like an hour ago. Like, what? All right. So now we are going to go with synthetic material. We could go with bucktail. Bucktail would be awesome. We could probably just high and low tie, like the classic Sadati Slammer. I mean, honestly. Do we want to use synthetics? Most of them were synthetic that I was fishing. You know what? I think we're going to use some bucktail. And we're going to high-low tie it. Like a proper slammer. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to get some yellow. So normally, I'm going to actually have a video on the jungle slammer, but... Yeah, so most of you guys are watching it. You're caught up. Yep. For your small to mid-sized streamers, do you use a straight leader like a 7-foot? You would use for smallmouth, or a 9-foot taper? Okay, yeah. So first off, definitely don't buy tapered leaders, Bronzeback. What I would do is, I like making my own tapered leaders, and we have a video coming out on Sunday. Sunday's video on how to make your own DIY saltwater fly leader. I would just use the same thing for you. I would have like 30 pound in the rear, and I would do a 4-foot section to 5-foot section, and then I would do a straight, then from that blood knot to blood knot, uni knot to uni knot, to 20 pound, either fluoro or regular. And that's usually abrasive resistance enough for striped bass, probably the same thing for largemouth. But there's nothing wrong with a 7-foot leader or straight 7-foot leader. That should be totally fine. I'd probably do 30 pound or 20 pound as long as your flies are swimming properly. But it's nice to have stiffer leader material in the rear and lighter in the front, and you can always cut down the material so you can cut your 20 pound off and then tie off a new piece of 20 pound, kind of like tippet. But I haven't used tippet in 20 something years. People don't use tippet in saltwater. It's like a freshwater thing. I remember they tried selling me tippet at Orvis back in the day, and I'm like, what is this compared to? They're like, oh, this is the presentation and you just use leader material. So you can use straight 7 foot or something, whatever it may be, but also try out making your own tapered leaders. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for smallmouth, you probably tune it down a little bit. Right? You can maybe do 30 to 15, right? If it's clear or something. Nicholas says I use exactly that. 30 pound 4-foot mono butt. And the mono butt is the called the butt section of the leader. This is great. Thank you for reminding me. This is probably something I should have brought up, because I don't use these terms a lot. Like, I don't use the fly terms. I just think of the leader. But like the butt section is the rear section of the fly that is generally the stiffer material that helps. Like, that stiff material is like the backbone of your leader that helps turn the fly over a lot of times. And the thing is, with smallmouth, you might be fishing some crazy flies, like even more weeble wobbly than this, that you want to turn over, like a big crayfish fly or something, right? The other thing I'm going to say, fish loop knots. Loop knots on your fly. So I was testing flies last week. We're spinning, and it turned the butt had too much coil of memory in it. You're talking about the butt section of your leader. Some flies I was testing were rolling a bit. Yeah. It turned out there was too much coil memory in the butt end of the leader. Yep. So straighten your leaders. You can use your tailgate, wrap it around the ball of your tailgate or something like that. You don't want to put it around something sharp, and you don't want to put too much coil. I like grabbing my leader and pulling it, and it'll slip in my hands, but I can really pull it, and I'm not wrapping it around my hands, things like that. But stretching your fly line, if it's a stretchable fly line, some fly lines apparently you're not supposed to stretch or something, which is crazy to me, but I gotta grab some color, don't I? Keep this pretty simple. This, go that. All right, I don't want to get too crazy. I could grab 30 bucktail colors. And when I do tie flies, I generally do like using 30 colors of bucktail, but like today's video. Oh, ask the questions away. This is what I'm here for, guys. Ask away. I just use non-fly fishing brand fluoro. Yeah. Now we use Seaguard, which is regular fishing fluoro. It's not made for fly fishing. Price of Cortland fluoro is now $32. Seaguar is still $15 for 20 yards. Exactly. See, I didn't even read your comment. Exactly. Seaguar, I mean, every person that generally is serious about fishing out here is generally using Seaguar. It's just one of the blue label. It's the most popular brand. One more question. How much do you lose in cast presentation by having a small TA clip, like a 25-pound micro clip, instead of constantly retying loop knots? So I go over this as well. Last year we fished them a bunch. Caught a bunch of fish. It's essentially fishing a loop knot. I don't necessarily think people are very old school when it comes to striper fishing in terms of not fishing leader, even if bluefish are around, because they don't want to spook striped bass. Fishing fluorocarbon, thin leader. I've fished like 80-pound. I've fished wires at times. When it comes to fish clips, I don't think there's that much of a difference. If you're fishing in the flats or you're fishing in a really clear river, and the smallmouth are in really clear water, maybe there's a difference. What I will say is the reason I haven't fully converted to that. Because it's really nice. It's super convenient for nighttime fishing, dude. It's so nice. Is I've had them literally break off, like the knot breaks at the fly clip. Or I've had them slip off. You know how they have, I think it's the TA clips, the tactical angler ones, where it's just like you can literally, if you take it, you can slip it off yourself. And I think just over casting over time, it just boop, and my loop in it, or the knot was perfectly intact. And then other times the knot broke, and none of my knots ever usually break. You know what I mean? If it does, it breaks at the fly or something. But this was just from casting, maybe hitting some mussel beds. And what I find on a lot of these clips, there's sharp edges here and there, even the Rio ones. So I don't know, I'm not fully convinced, right? And if you've ever fished before a lot, fly fish, you've broken a fly off your leader. If you hit a tree, whatever, rocks, we do it all the time. It happens, right? If you're casting sloppy that day. I got to start tying this fly, dude. I've been streaming for 3 hours. What do you call it? So I'm curious if that's just normal, or if it really was the fly clips is the reason why they broke off, right? I really don't know, but I'm going to go with some chartreuse here. We got to start tying this. We're going to speed tie this. High-low tie. But, yeah, I don't know. Because I would love to just not have to tie loop knots. But so, I don't know. Certain times I was like, man, I don't think this matters. Other times I'm like, is this why I'm not catching fish? And I think that, I may know a lot of things. Just like, and Mark Sadati knows even more than me. The other day, we're like, where are the fish? Why aren't we catching any largemouth? What is this? And that's fishing, right? If we ever get to the point to where you can just like, I'm going to go catch 30 bass right here. And let me make 30 casts perfectly using my chat GTP. And I know exactly how to do it. And I'm going to, oh, this one's a little small. I don't want that one. Then it's like boring, right? It's like you might as well have an aquarium. So this is why we fish. But, yeah, I don't know. I've like questioned at times using the fly clips, like, is this why I'm not catching fish? When in reality, I don't know if it really makes a difference. To be honest with you, I think you're totally good using the clips. I'm just gonna tell you, I've broken them off. If you're not having any issues, then it was me. It was like a me issue. You know what I mean? So, give them a try. I mean, what's the worst case that happens? You know, it's like, I've never broke off a fish. I just broke them off casting or like something. I used 50-pound leader with a big TA clip last year on my spinning setup. I don't catch monsters though, so maybe big girls care. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Think of all the people for years that surf fish. I mean, a lot of them would tie the knots direct, but you know, is that truly make a difference, or is that making you more confident? I don't know, right? Like, and there's probably people out there that have surf fished in the past and consistently caught big fish that were always using clips, you know? So, I don't know. But maybe they just presented it so much, they're so good at presenting the bait that it was like, who cares? They could use anything they want. So, yeah, this is fishing, dude. And I love it. I hate it and love it at times, right? So I'm just going to tie the material top and bottom, high-low tie. This is kind of like old school slammer. We're just going to keep the stacks pretty close. And yeah, I'm just adding some color in the rear. I don't really have white bucktail. I feel like that's long enough because I've been doing so much commercial tying. So I'm just using some colors because why not? The water was very turbid the other day because it rained. I think it's going to rain tonight. Hopefully not, but it's going to be in the 60s. We were going to go somewhere else, but once we saw it was going to be in the 60s and it's hotter than it was the other day, I think with the amount of herring that are in this area, there's going to be something going on over here. So I have a feeling. But when I say high-low tie, we're essentially tying the material on top of each other. Classic high tie. I'm going to be tying some shorter material on the sides just to cover here and there and add some profile. But this is kind of like a classic slammer. I'm not perfect at this. Mark ties these perfectly in bucktail. I'm way better at tying synthetic slammers. But it's funny. I have a Sidati slammer video in here, which I'm like essentially kind of... It wasn't exactly perfect, but I was tying it essentially high-low tie exactly how it's... you know, for the recipe in the Innovative Saltwater Fly book, and multiple people are like, this is not a Sidati slammer. I'm like, all right, I don't know what to tell you. I think a lot of people, you know, you got to realize too, like there's different versions of the same fly, right? Like he's tied this fly for 30, 40 years. So I've seen him tie this fly in so many different ways. So it's funny, like people will be like, you know, I have a bucktail surf candy video, and it's just interesting. I note this because I think about like how people think in terms of how they approach fly tying, right? It's interesting to think about. Someone got mad. They were like, every surf candy is bucktail. So I don't know what you're talking about. And somebody else was like, well, actually, if you read Popovic's book, I mean, he like, you know, he tied synthetic versions, he tied rabbit strip versions, this and that. But it's like, you know, I don't know. It's interesting how sometimes people look at fly patterns and, you know, look at it in a one-dimensional way is what I'll say, you know. Being able to approach fly pattern or fly design or fly tying and thinking about things outside the box, or thinking about, you know, you can do one fly, you could tie it 50 different ways or whatever. I don't know, I'm not explaining it very well, but I should probably make a video on this. But being observant and like understanding like maybe why somebody ties something differently than somebody else or something is an important part of like becoming a better fly tyer. Paying attention to how people manipulate the bucktail they're working with, for instance, or this or that. To quote Mark Sidati, let them cook. You're seeing somebody do something that you're like, oh, I wish I could do that, or why is this old guy at the bridge catching more fish than me? He's probably doing something right, so let him cook. That's what Mark said in a conversation we had. I was like, damn it, I wish I was recording that. But it's because it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I did not expect him to say that. And the funny thing is I told my buddy Jeff, who's like my age, he's like, I don't even know what let him cook is. Which for those of you that don't know, it's like lingo. It's like, imagine I'm going off right now about how how there's this hook manufacturer and they're charging us, they're like increasing the price of hooks, but giving us less hooks and the hooks are less quality. And I'm going off on them like, man, this and that. And somebody's like, damn, yeah, let them cook. Let them cook. Like somebody's about to interrupt me and you stop them, you put your hand on their shoulder. That's like what that means. That's how I had to explain it to my buddy. It was so funny. We were laughing. Like some younger guy that was working at the fly shop was laughing. I was like, you don't know, let them cook. I'm like, damn, bro, Mark said he outlingos you. Just tie that high-low. And you can see we're building up the profile, top and bottom. Now, herring aren't super massive. 50 ways to skin a cat. Exactly. I've never seen it done, but sure. That's the annoying side of any hobby. Yeah. And, it's funny. I try not to let, making, like on Twitch, we've had people come in while I'm playing guitar and they're like, you're fat, you're ugly, and this is the worst guitar playing I've ever heard. And I was like, like the guitar part, really, I was like, the fat, ugly, yeah, we love that. That's a given. But like over the years, it's like, whatever, who cares? You can't let it bother you. But I do think it's interesting how, when I see stuff like that, like how people approach, because I've had other people say like, oh, that fly you're tying right now, that's Jimmy John's wingwan buster. All right. It's a new fly he came out with. I'm like, dude, that's literally a fly that was developed 40 years ago. That's just a Clouser minnow with hackle wrapped at the front. What are you talking about? They were like, you mean you're not tying the nipple buster? That's what this fly is. You know that, right? So, God, I'm telling you, dude, I could probably sit down and we could have a 2-hour-long rant about fly names and naming your own flies nowadays. But you know what? Who am I? People are just having fun. As long as they're not like, I don't know. I do believe that it's good to understand where our background of fly tying comes from. The people that developed a lot of flies, like Bill Catherwood, honestly, probably some of the best deer hair spinning for stripers, but he developed those flies in the 50s before people were thinking about 3D profiles. Way before Popovic's, right? Popovic's was like a little kid. So, yeah, it's interesting, and most people don't know him, you know what I mean? And they'll probably see a fly like that, and they're like, oh, that's a striper slayer. Or, oh, that's this or that. When, and that's just, I'm telling you, that's the general evolution of fly tying, and that's just history. But it's important to, like, preserve this stuff, and people understand who these innovators and, pioneers were and stuff like that. Because it's easy for history to be rewritten or something. I'm sure there's, like, some sort of philosophical quote from Julius Caesar or something. Or, like, somebody that was smart out there. Socrates, right? How do you say his name? Socrates, right? Is that how you say it? Isn't that what they call him in Bill and Ted's Adventure? They're like, yo, Socrates, what's up? But I'm sure it's very easy for, like, people to forget, right? So that's why I think it's important to make these things. I'm going to have a whole video series on fly tires that are, legends that most people don't know about nowadays. But if you were growing up in the 60s or 70s, these were the guys that were pioneering the sport. The guys or women, or wherever. So, yeah, it's interesting. It was my first video too, no less. Some guys are just asked it. Dude, I had to turn off comments. I made a dedication to my dad because I got so annoyed at the nitpicking everything I did in the river, even criticizing my kid. Yeah. I will say, you know what? That's just going to happen. Me, well, that's one thing. You have a kid, that's a whole nother thing. Me, they want to comment, they can feel free to comment. In fact, they can come and join the stream. They can call me, as long as we have a somewhat polite conversation, you know what I mean? They can express their feelings however they want, and I'm more than welcome to have a conversation. So we've had it in the past, but I think that's part of it, and I'm a pretty small YouTuber. If I ever get to the 100,000 subs or something like that one day, it's going to only get worse. But luckily, I will say, majority of you folks are just people who watch my videos and stuff, overwhelmingly positive. And when I have people come up in public and they're like, yeah, I've been watching your videos for years now, and like, you've greatly helped my fly tying. I'm like, that's what it's about, right? So I could have 30 people call me a jerk, but honestly, one person comes up and says that, I'm like, all right, we're in business. That's why I do it, you know. So, but you know, it is what it is. It's being on the internet. A lot of these people, you know, come up to a fly show and say that, but it's all good. It's very easy just to be like very disconnected from humanity behind a phone screen. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty easy to just watch a video of a dude getting hit by a truck nowadays on YouTube. Like, oh, I just saw that. Or like on Instagram. Like, I think that guy, you know, yeah, I'm pretty sure a crocodile just ate that guy. All right, let me scroll up next. You know, okay, some women's beach ball, volleyball, or, you know, your feed's just showing you like just the most random, including like pure death and destruction at times. So, it's interesting. We can get, oh man, we don't want to get all into that. We're a fly tying channel. We don't need to get into philosophy and ethics of humanity and technology, but I'm gonna go with a little bit of orange as a rain around the rosy here. Now you can see I'm not really focusing. I'm doing my color in collars, and I like this. It doesn't have to be the blue on top. Who says you can't have the blue all around and then have the red, you know, or something like that, right? Oh yeah, that's one thing I really want to get across too. A lot of times, what I'm doing is not just for saltwater flies. Now, some of this stuff applies to trout tying more so, like in terms of manipulating your thread and working with the material and understanding how to tie with it. But when it comes to tying smallmouth, musky, whatever, right, bonefish flies, a lot of this stuff, maybe not bonefish, but a lot of this stuff does cross over and apply, and it's really about the techniques. You shouldn't look at it as, oh, that's you know, when you tie bucktail like that, that's a bucktail deceiver or something. It's like, no, you can use that technique, you know, and take this, mix it with another fly, and mix it with another fly, and there you go. You got something different. You know what I mean, or whatever. Like you gotta, yeah. That's probably that's the biggest thing I'm gonna harp on throughout my fly tying career and educational fly tying is not looking at fly tying as patterns. You know, you should be breaking it. This is a good way of describing it. If anyone plays music, this is a perfect way of describing it, because I play music. You can sit down and read tabs, and you can learn a tab, right? And let's say you learn how to play Back in Black by AC/DC. And if you just only learn the tabs, and you know at this time you're going to play this particular formation of the guitar neck, but you don't learn that that's a C chord, and that's a D, and that's a G. If you learn those chords, then you could take that and apply it. You could play 1,000 different songs, right? So if you approach fly tying in terms of like, why are we tying the bucktail like that, and how can I take this and do this in other ways and stuff like that, that's really the way you want to approach fly tying. You can name it full over. What do you think? Okay. I always get so scared of the width of my bucktail in these flies. Do you have any rule of thumb for handling that? I've started drying them by hanging them on the hook. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to tell you right now, you can hang them up in the hooks and stuff like that. In the water, I mean, in the vise is how it's going to look in the water, right? So you need to think about that a lot of times. I mean, obviously, if you're stripping the fly 100% of the time and you're swimming it in current, it will slim down. But if you just leave the fly in the water, this is what it's going to look like, right? Obviously, when we manipulate it, we add action, whatever. This is the best way I could describe how I approach how much material I put on there. You just need to learn over time how much material you can put on a hook before it literally will not swim right? Now, mind you, we have a good amount of lead keel, about half of the amount Mark Sadati uses, right? So normally Mark has double the amount. You probably do double the amount on this size hook. But the way I do this, you see this in every single, and I've started mentioning this because people probably just think I'm fondling the fly tying material like a freak. And I got to admit, I do like doing this over and over again. It is fun touching the bucktail. But what I'm doing is pulling the material back and I'm looking at the profile, right? So what are we looking for here in a herring, right? In fact, I have a photo from the NOAA because I just made a video. Where's my herring photo? Or not mine. Where's the photo from the NOAA? And this photo's from the NOAA, so giving credit so they don't copy strike me. This is a herring. Can I zoom in? What you find in a herring compared to a bunker, they're not as tall top and bottom. They're more slender. They still have width to them. I'd say they're probably about half of the width of an adult bunker, or maybe 2/3 of the width. But the main thing is it's a slimmer profile top and bottom. Now, the one on top has more of a taller profile top and bottom. This is more, I'd say, like bunker are different in terms of their shape, but bunker have this more exaggerated. This is kind of like the size we were seeing. They're more slimmer, right? They're less of an exaggerated top and bottom profile, but they still have a 3D profile, and they still push water, right? When they move, they were moving a foot under the surface, and they were throwing wakes. Like, we could see them swimming really fast, and we were like, whoa, what the hell's going on? And, like, one went, like, flying out of the water. I'm like, dude, something's eating that thing, right? So I'm just trying to, like, picture that profile, and I'm just trying to, like, somewhat closely match it, right? It's not going to be perfect, right? If we use synthetic material, I could have got much longer material and this and that. And this is smaller, but we saw some small herring. Honestly, I probably almost could have added some more material, but we're still adding some. We have like 1 or 2 more ties. But really, I'm just adding a bunch of color. I still have some profile 3D on the sides, but you see a lot of it is top and bottom because we're trying to create that larger herring profile, right? But really, you know, you don't want to add too much material. It's just going to be in terms of going out there and fishing your flies and seeing how they swim. You know what I mean? When the fly lands, does it land and look like if you took like a loofah and threw it on the water and it's just floating there? You know what I mean? Or does it sink properly? And don't be afraid to like look at a bulkhead deceiver. Like a bulkhead deceiver is a bulky fly that pushes water. There's a good amount of bucktail on there. You know what I mean? But, so, yeah. Just really like pull this back a little bit and just sit there and look at it and be like, if you were thinking about a peanut bunker or a herring, you're like, even me, I'm like, you know what? I kind of wish now mind you, it's going to be looking more like this in the water. It's not going to be fully pulled back, but I do want a little bit more of a profile, top and bottom. So I'm going to do that, right? You see, I'm not using super glue and all that a bunch here. We're fishing for largemouth and pickerel. This fly is going to be all right. If it gets a little chewed up, you know, whatever. Presentation, sometimes color. It's all about presentation. That is what it is all about. Oh, I'm sorry, from Fly Tying New England, yes. And then you're Tony, right? Yes, you're Tony. I remember now. What do you think is more important, color over shape or type of insect fish? Oh, yeah. So like what Alan said, presentation first. You could probably throw a bait fish fly or an insect fly or a crustacean fly in front of a fish, and if you placed it just right in a way that looks natural, they're going to eat it, okay? But over that, I would say the profile over color all the time. Because let's say you're fishing for redfish and they're eating crabs, and whatever you're fishing does not vaguely look like a crab. Squint your eyes. Does it look like a little crab or something? Like the things that they're eating, muddler crabs? No? Then you need to fix that. Maybe it's too big, too wide, maybe whatever, yada, yada, yada. And it doesn't need to look perfectly like it. It doesn't need to look like a freaking fly that would be on a catalog. It needs to look like if you squint your eyes and you held a crab in your hand and you held that and you're like, yep, that's pretty close. That's what you need. You know what I mean? Look, should we just start streaming the YouTube chat and the Twitch chat together because everyone else does, and if I get banned, then you guys can watch me on YouTube? Is that what you guys want? Because everyone's like, what the hell? He's reading 2 chats. I'm not going to say Fly Tie New England on YouTube says, yeah, presentation, forgot that. What you need to do is watch both the streams at once. Double dip. Okay? By the way, to do that, I think I need to like download extensions and like I need to like grab the chats and stuff. So it's not necessarily even, I don't even know if something I can do. I need to like be technologically savvy to do that, but We'll see. Maybe I'll do it. Whatever. No, don't do it. I'm like, ban me, goddammit. I'm on YouTube anyway. No. Yeah, I'm not Hassan Piker. Watch out. So I will get banned. All right, we're going to go with a little bit of pink here on top. I was going to tie some more. I only got room for one white because I just tied too much thread, but that's okay. It'll be easier to tie some more bucktail like this. And then we'll do one more color. I haven't done it in the past to get your double the viewpoints. Okay, gotcha. No, pick one you enjoy and watch it. That's fine. That's fine. I'll try and get better about it. If you guys are asking, just if I'm reading something that doesn't look like it's in from Twitch chat or YouTube chat, just assume it's from the other platform. Okay. And it's not like, it's not popping off, but I'd say it's relatively equal. You guys are doing good. All right. Now again, we got a good amount of lead wire on here. This is a bucktail version. I want this thing to be like this bucktail on the front. I mean, this is a good amount of bucktail, right? But this thing will sink right. This thing will sink fine. And I'm using intermediate line. I'm using heavy leader. I'm using 60 pound down to, 30 pound? I was fishing 60 pound. I was catching all my largemouth with 60 pound fluoro. 60 to 80. Don't ask me why. I was just like, you know what? I'm fishing this giant fly, and this is what he's going to be fishing for, like Arapaima or like stainless steel wire. So I wanted to fish something heavy. But yeah, I'm going to be filming tomorrow too, because I have some other fly. I have another fly recorded. We went out, fished, didn't catch anything. I want to catch a fish on it just for the fly time video, because of course, why not? And we'll go with a little bit of white for the belly here. You know what could be cool at this point right here? Let's add some ostrich-turtle. We've been doing that a lot. It's one thing I really like doing. Be nice to palmer it, but I don't have that. Oh, and I forgot, we're supposed to finish this fly off with a dubbing brush. That was like the whole thing, right? I was supposed to show you guys. So, yeah. We'll tie a little ostrich on here, and then here, ostrich hurl on here. And then we'll finish it with a dubbing brush. Now, you could just tie this like a traditional slammer, right? Now, again, I'm not like perfect at tying bucktail slammers. Mark ties them beautifully. I could show you guys the book, Innovative Saltwater Flies. But, we're essentially going to do what we did in the most recent video here. Tie some ostrich hurl right on top of this. Now, look. You can be... This is very easy. I was thinking about this too. I was tying these jungle cock. I was tying these peacock bass flies for the jungle. These jungle slammers. And I'm like, this is a good amount of material. So first off, always added a keel, because essentially it's a slammer, right? A lot of times people won't do that because it makes the fly heavy, right? The other thing is I used a decent amount of material and put these big 3-inch Foxy dubbing brush heads on the front. The whole idea is you're fishing for peacock bass. This is a very aggressive, predatory game fish that will literally eat massive things. Like, it'll probably eat a bird, right? A baby duck or something. So, like, you want this fly to be pushing water, and you're fishing down in Colombia. It's turbid brown water, right? So these fish are hunting with lateral lines. They can see as well, but they're hunting with their senses. You don't need a rattle. You just need the fly to push water, because this is how game fish hunt. They hunt with their lateral line. It's one of the most important things, is having a fly that pushes water when you're fishing for these types of species. Giant trevally is the same thing. Big brushy heads on these flies. And big, whatever. They push water. They need a cast right? You don't want it to be just a mess and have a ton of material. But there's one thing you'll find, and these are what I like to call, like, a lot of times, attractor flies, searching flies. Doesn't mean you have to be searching. You could just be fishing for peacock bass. But for stripers, and we're covering this in the video coming out on... It's already up early for members, by the way. I have the next 4 videos up early for members. I did this not only for the members, but also for myself, just so now I'm, like, loaded a week ahead of time. I'm like, hell yeah. What do you call it? Oh, we're getting fancy with the ostrich. That's right. But I cover this in terms of match the hatch flies. These are two generic ways I consider striper flies. Either you're searching or you're matching the hatch, quote unquote. So if we know they're spearing, we're throwing spearing flies. Okay, perfect. We know this is general bait. We have a good. This is what we want to use. Early in the season, I might not even notice there's fish. I'm throwing big flies like this, flies that push water, that will get the lateral lines. So, oh yeah, I'm in two places at once. There you go, Chandler. Now you have a sub from my original account before I made my tying channel. And your YouTube tying channel is AR, right? AR Fly Fisher, just like your Twitch. What's going on? You gotta know you got a full-time job, but you gotta keep making some videos. And you're right, the shorts are where it's at. Where's the? I need my dubbing brush. Hold on. It's in here, isn't it? No, it was just another bag. Where, oh, where are my dubbing brush? Not sure. Give me 1 sec. Hold on. No. Where is it? Oh, it's back here. I forgot I have so much material floating around nowadays. I got bags and bags and bags of material floating around. Yeah, we'll go with the chartreuse. The chartreuse worked really good on the other one, so it's a 3-inch Foxy brush. Which, by the way, these are like 6-pack. Oh, this is $18. I bought this with my own money. Oh my god. Unbelievable. I should have charged his ass more money for those peacock bass flies. Mind you, I get a discount, but still. I think that's it. That's the end of buying EP brushes. So we're going to have to make our own dubbing brushes from now on. I'm not spending $20 for 6 dubbing brushes. Like, yeah. You can, I mean, they're nice. They're nice, but $18 for 6 of these? You want me to charge like $30 a fly or something? All right. Let's go ahead and tie these on here. Knowing this, that we're going to be using about $4 of dubbing brush. Half of it. Yeah. Oh, this is your tying account. Chandler. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, your handle name. Yeah, you got to fix it. Yep, you got to change it to AR. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What are these? They're like using diamond laced dubbing wire or something with these? What's the deal? They used to be like, I think like $10, $8 or $9. And you get like 5 or something. If I'm not wrong. I probably still have an original pack. I should look and see what they were. I mean, this is nice. It's definitely nice, but $19, probably with tax, right? With tax, it's gonna be $20. You figure, right? 18 something, $17.99. It's like it's gonna be 19 something. You paying $19 for 6 dubbing brushes? And by the way, it's the same price for the 1.5 inch. I think, if I'm not wrong, you get double the literal amount of material on this one. Interesting. Luckily, I don't tie a lot with these, but now that I know that for my jungle slammers, because I want to tie these for English Marketplace, but with the synthetics and bucktail. Now knowing that, I am probably going to make my own dubbing brushes for this fly. It's going to take way more time, but whatever. Because if I, that's going to drastically increase. I mean, no matter what, these flies are going to be pricey because they're just gigantic flies, or big, brushy, flies that take a long time to tie, but probably just make my own brushes. It's a matter of just getting some good hair for it. Yep, there you go. AR fly fisher. There you go. Now you're properly set up. Yeah, anyone on YouTube, give Chandler a follow, AR fly fisher. He's got some cool trout tying videos up there that got a good amount of views too, I think. More views than a lot of my stuff. All right, we're gonna tie this off. Now it's a good amount of dubbing material too, right? You know what? Maybe we could probably do one less wrap. I mean, we want a nice head. I'll screw it. I'll go for it. Again, we want to push material. See, at times I question myself, like, oh, am I wrapping too much of this stuff on there? Hell no. There is a fine line. You can most definitely put too much material on a fly. Don't get mistaken. It's about, for what particular, you know, if you're tying a flatwing, you know, it's different than tying a peacock bass fly, right? But, so I'm like working it down to where it can have a nice clean tie. You see that? And I'm just going to loosely wrap it and then pull this super tight. There you go. I just broke it from pulling it. I've never done that before. I just broke the wire at a completely different point. That's wild. You can see how tight I pulled that time. These dubbing brushes are pretty strong. They're not very easy to just break. You know what I mean? It goes to show how much force I put into this Regal at times. That's why you'll see me. I will never have a hook slip. The vise built like a freaking rock. But what will happen, I will bend hooks. There is no give to this vise. This vise holds on and does not let go. It's the bulldog bite is what they call it. So if you pull too hard, you will bend the hook. And that's one way I like to determine if a hook's not strong enough for what I want to do with it. Because if I'm tying a fly and I'm spinning deer hair and the hook bends while I'm spinning deer hair just because I'm wrenching that deer hair on there, never happened before with any other hook. Definitely shouldn't be happening with this hook. So there's been hook models and brands that I've used before, and you've heard me say it. I don't want to look. I'm gonna get better with not trying to get too loud with that, but you know that's a big deal, especially when you're fishing for bigger fish. For largemouth, I don't know if that's a big deal. I don't think we're gonna be bending hooks on 5-pound largemouth, but I mean maybe. But when we're talking about 40, 50-pound stripers, and I've never caught one on the fly, if I had a hook bend in that situation, that would be catastrophic. You know what I mean? These Arexes have been good. I've had other Arex models I'm not happy with, but these ones are fantastic. The minnows in smaller sizes are okay for this sort of fishing. The blue waters and the beast fly hooks are great. I will say, I'm not a fan of these types of finishes. These types of finishes don't do well in saltwater unless you rinse the flies off. Have you folks noticed that? Like these darker, slick finishes on hooks, even Gamakatsus, right? That's why I like the stainless steel. Like stainless steel hooks are what you want for saltwater. These are stainless steel SL12Ss. Gamakatsu makes hooks similar like this, but with the dark finish, like the nickel or something. So I personally, and that's why I really don't like that Mustad change this. So, because I'm lazy. I don't want to rinse my flies off at times. I just want to throw them in the box. But, I don't know. They work fine. They work great. Most hooks use them nowadays. But this is why you find a lot of times I'll use like the Gamakatsu stainless steels. Or, I think they even do have the lighter nickel finish or whatever. But, I don't know. We'll see. Like, how often do you folks end up having a fly for years? I actually have flies that I tied when I was a kid that I still fish. So, I mean, while a lot of the times I think a lot of people, and even me, I tie a bunch of flies and then they get beat up and I try, get rid of them and whatever. So, I don't know how important it is, but like, yeah. It's nice having stainless steel hooks. I wish more. Then again, this hook, I don't think it was even developed for saltwater. It's the minnow hook, but even some of their flies, like the blue water, but other manufacturers do that as well. I'm really not happy Mustad changed their big game hooks to these other hooks. I don't know why they did it, but whatever. If I could, I'd go back and get the C70 SDs, man. They're so good. The weight on them was fantastic for balancing flies. Oh, it was so good. Do we need to put eyes on this? We can, just for fun. For my confidence level, I will. I don't think the bass here. For my confidence level, we're going to do it. Because why not? It's fun. And I think I even have some green eyes we can put on there. Do I? Yeah. Yeah, we're using the green eyes. Predator eyes. I think I have clear ones, don't I? Yeah, we'll just use the green ones anyway. The clear ones are kind of nice. They kind of take up the color that's behind them. You mentioned manipulation, and then profile, then color. What are your opinions on eyes? That was the last part. You got to go AR. You got to go watch my most recent new video series we're doing, and it came out a couple weeks ago. The new one's coming out on the 4th. Fly fishing for striped bass, but this applies for everything. Like, you should watch this. And choosing flies, and its presentation's the most important. Then profile, length, size, shape. Then color, overall color. Then we can get into the finer details. The last one is eyes, whatever little things you do, little bits you add that don't really change that much to how the fly swims or reacts in the water, but add something visually, but doesn't affect the fly necessarily too much in terms of weight balance, how it swims, the profile. Now, I will say sometimes adding eyes to a fly changes the profile. Gluing the eyes on the side like this at times will push the material upwards and change the profile. So this gluing eyes, in fact, not necessarily the addition of the eyes or the visual look of the eyes is the reason why, but it could be that, for instance, doing this changes the profile as well. So, which again wouldn't make eyes visually the reason, but it'd be adding them. But it's hard to say, and sometimes maybe the eyes do matter, right? Who knows? Don't take this stuff as gospel, right? Take it as some guy rambling and what he's learned over 30 years of striper fishing, and just listening to other people, trying to listen to other people that know what they're talking about. But that being said, in reality, maybe nobody knows what they're talking about. So that could be wrong. Maybe the eyes are the difference sometimes, Mark said, and this is you see this a lot in very shallow water fishing, like bonefish and stuff like that. Sometimes that stuff can make a big difference. The silly legs, right? Whether it's an inch longer or something. I mean, that comes down to profile, but yeah, it's interesting. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Yeah, for instance, putting these eyes on now presses it. It's going to have less of a 3D profile at the front, but it's going to squeeze this up, and in the water, we're going to have a better top and bottom profile. And that'll change how the material reacts in the back and how it swims. If I didn't put eyes on here, it would probably swim slightly differently. It might swim better. But you know what? I'm a creature of habit. I like putting these 3D eyes on these brush flies. Is it going to make a difference? I don't know. It might be clear water, right? Maybe it does. So, all right. While I clean up, if you haven't, !play in the Twitch chat and enter our sub giveaway. You got to be subscribed to the channel. I'm going to put this material away real quick so I don't have to deal with all this mess here. And for anybody on YouTube as well, and this is for folks on Twitch too, go check out the most recent fly tying video, and we have, what do you call it? There's a giveaway on that as well on YouTube. Yeah, the EP brush tapered down the bucktail. Yep. Now, in the water, this is going to have a nice profile, right? But if we just tied it with bucktail, it would be completely different. You know what I mean? Definitely would be different. We also added a lot more bulk in the front of the fly, which changes the profile as well. But the addition of this dubbing brush creates a head. The water hits the head. Hydrodynamics happen, like in your spoiler, the way your car is designed, and the wind hits your car, and it's going to flap back around, hit this flash tail, and this flash tail is going to be just dangling like this the whole time. If we're stripping it, it's going to be doing that. That's really important. Dubbing brushes, yada yada yada. Put this away. That away. That away. Let's clean up a little bit real quick. Give you folks a second to hop on in that giveaway if you haven't. This. We're gonna put some of these feathers away because these things are making a mess. These bad boys. Definitely gonna have to vacuum after the stream, that's for certain, as always. I'm literally vacuuming probably once a day nowadays, so. Yeah, it's looking pretty good though. I like that. I'm gonna have confidence throwing this at Pickerel largemouth, so knowing that they eat herring. This is smaller too. I've been throwing like 9, 10-inch tandem hook flies that are massive. This is like 7 or 8 inches. By the way, if I went for peacock bass or something like that, I wouldn't even change the fly. That's how much confidence I have in this. Which, by the way, you guys want to see something cool? Let's go ahead and ban this bozo. Bot. See you later, bot. Bozo. See ya. I wonder what the stats are on how many people on Twitch, or just live stream in general, but particularly on Twitch, which, by the way, that was for you folks that don't know. It's very common on Twitch for, like, bots to come in and be like, you can buy viewers so you get more viewers. You'd be surprised how many people do this on Twitch. That probably have 10 viewers and it says they have 100 and something. I'm really curious what the statistics are on that and how many people do that on Twitch. It's probably more popular than you think. We're going to pull up. Is it a photo or what can I show you? Ah, here we go. I'll just show you one pic. I don't want to show you all the cool stuff, but check this out. There we go. That's pretty much this fly that we just tied, but with synthetics as opposed to bucktail with a flash tail in a big old peacock bass's mouth. Check that out. Jungle slammers. Let's go. Nice fish too. Beautiful. I'll show you better though to show you size of the fish. It's my boy JC Jeffy. So they work. They definitely work. And he said other people were fishing other flies, and guess who was getting all the action? So it pays to do some research and go with the right flies. You can tell which Twitch accounts are botted to the high hell because they have relatively high viewers and followers on stream compared to that's another great way is if, like, for instance, I have like 2,000 something followers on Instagram, I have 2,800 subs on YouTube, and I have 2,000 something followers on Twitch. But you'll see people have like 15 followers on Twitter or something. Now, I don't use Twitter, so I have a Twitter account probably with 10 followers. But yeah, I like that general thing, yep. Or their engagement's very low, yeah. Yep. That is absolutely right. But you know what? It's fine. That's why I was like, I'm not paying people. Like, if people want to watch me, they'll watch me. We don't need to, inflate things, we'll say. Let's say it nicely. All right, we got our marble race. Let's see what we got. Was he wearing Sim's underwear? Of course. That's the other thing. You won't catch fish on my flies unless you're wearing Sim's underwear. That's very important. Okay? Especially in Colombia. You need the good aeration down there. But you need the Sim's underwear and my flies. Now, is that for everybody? No, but for Jeff it is, for sure. Whoa! Rev coming in with the 5 memberships, gifted memberships. Round of applause. Thank you so much, my friend. And look at that. Like it was meant to be, Joe F got a gift sub. Can we finally, or gift membership, round of applause. And also get some LI Flies hearts in the Twitch chat for my good friend Rev. Thank you for the memberships, my dude. Appreciate it. It's very kind of you. We got Speedy Cycle. We got Sandman Fly Fishing. Riverfront Baits Incorporated. Barfy 66. This is why I love streaming. All those like regular names and Barfy 66, which is a great name. I love it. But it's just Barfy, you know. It just made me laugh. And then Joe F. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Very kind of you. You didn't have to. You didn't have to. Do you ever trim flies when using them for a different action? How do you know what to change? Do you ever trim flies while using them? Yes. Okay, now I understand. While I'm on the water. Yeah, like cinder worm fishing. The front lip is too long, creating too much action. I'll rip it off, right? The cinder worms aren't making that much noise or aren't pushing that much water. So my gurgler is causing too much of a disturbance. So I'll rip the front part of the lip off, right? I don't necessarily trim flies. Let's say, though, we're fishing and we notice all the herring are this big. I will just take this and I'll break it off. Ideally, you don't want to cut it off flat. You want to taper it on the water, like pull it and pull the end so it's all not the same length. But if you have to, yes, do what you have to do. Cut the fly up. Who cares? You can tie more. The idea is you want that fly to be the right profile. It's not always a perfect thing. It's going to be ugly. It'll be ugly, you know. Hey, there we go. Yeah, thank you for the gift membership. By the way, Barfy, or anybody watching, which I don't even know if that's how you're saying your name, but I'm going to say it. You guys get early access to videos. There's 4, I think. Is there 4 or 3? No, I think it's, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next videos are fully uploaded. Go watch them. Enjoy them. Let me know how I did. You know what I mean? All right. The best fly shop on Long Island? I'm biased. It's Whitewater Outfitters because that's my local one. Another good one's Campsite. They have a pretty large selection of materials. Pretty far from me. Back in the day, I used to go to Campsite. And then there's River Bay Outfitters is fantastic as well. So it really depends on where you're going. They're all good. I'd say Whitewater Outfitters has a pretty good selection, but they're not a fly shop. They're a tackle shop. But they have a huge fly selection, fly time materials and stuff. When it comes to solely just flies, even Campsite doesn't do that. That would be like River Bay Outfitters is just fly fishing. So, is there any other places? I don't know. There's mostly tackle shops that dip into fly fishing, you know, like Tightline Tackle in Southampton and stuff. Hey, Red Chief. How you doing? But, yeah, locally, Whitewater Outfitters is my favorite. You know, they're great. And they got everything from offshore tuna to fly fishing, you know. Are they open in December? Which one? I think all of them are. River Bay Outfitters should be open. Whitewater Outfitters is open year-round. And Campsite is year-round. They have hunting stuff as well and everything. Most tackle shops are. Some of them are, you know, smaller ones. They don't stay open during the winter year-round, or they're only part-time during the week. So any gifts or any Twitch subs, ! Play. We're about to do our marble race here. I'm sure most of you folks are already in here. This is where we give away some flies on Twitch. For you folks on YouTube, go and after the stream, go watch the new Peanut Bunker video, like and comment on it. I'm sure most of you are subbed already to the channel, and then you could get a chance to win that fly. So, but let's go ahead and start this up. Jerry, can we get some marble racing music? And by the way, thank you for everybody hanging out and watching. I appreciate it. I'm going to get out and go fishing with Mark Sadati tomorrow, so I'm going to vacuum here after the stream. I don't know. Maybe I'll vacuum tomorrow, but I gotta tie some of these roosterfish flies and stuff, so I'm going to get back to work here. But it was a pretty good stream. I mean, look, we've been streaming, we've been getting about 3.5, 4 hours so I'm getting back in the groove, you know? Like, talking for 4 hours, like, I couldn't do it a couple months ago. I'm slowly easing back into it. My voice was just like destroyed by the time after a 2-hour stream. Nutter Butter Bait. This stream was brought to you. Oh, wait. This stream. Wait, do I have sound effects or what? Mic check, mic check. I don't like this one though. Hold on, let's try the reverb out. Hello, hello. Yeah. Mic check, mic check. Forgot which was the good one. This stream was brought to you by Nutter Butter Baits. Nutter Butter. Get nutted. That wasn't good. I gotta work on it. There's a right setting. It's like 12 or something. The reason I'm saying that is because this is from a song I used in that Albie parody video, and it was like, brought to you by Nutter Butter Baits, which is a completely made-up company that I made up. Did I get in? I did. All right, here we go. Start it up, Jerry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hadouken! Fight! Oh my god, AR. Woo, baby. You see, slingshotted out of there like Ricky Bobby. Shake and baked his ass. Southern Fly Guy in the not in last place. Tony in last place. You got to get those marble races in. I got to never count out the last marble, though. We've seen comebacks before. AR, though, is looking hot. He's looking real hot. Hey, thank you, Bronze Back. Appreciate it. Everybody watching on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. Sunday is the new video. We have DIY saltwater fly tying leaders. Check that out. Monday is the Clouser Minnow, the original Clouser Minnow, the version that Lefty Cray recommends for striper fishing, the best version, or his favorite. Oh, AR, though! Oh, this upset! Oh, my God, he went flying off the track. The crowd's going wild. Oh, Gabe, too. We're getting pegged left and right. Just like that, out of the lead. So anyways, Wednesday we have the Whistler. See you later, Rhett Chief. Oh my god, he might make it. Oh my god, it was destined. It's very rare. Rhett Chief might win. He needs to get his ass into that pipe. But that was a win in itself. And then Friday's the new fly fishing for striped bass. But Craggerell's looking good, baby. I don't know. That was pretty sick, though, Rhett Chief. I'm not going to lie. You deserve to win for that. But Craggerell, hey, I'm not going to take it away from him. All right? I'm pogging out. I'm pogging in the butt. Congratulations. Craggerell in the lead with the win. I'm sorry, the upset. Ranked probably 1,000th in the world in marble racing. AR fly fisher just got wrecked. But it happens to the best of us. But what did I say, though? Tony, Rhett Chief, had a good lead. We got Southern Fly Guy and Doc. They're fist fighting in the hamster wheel. Jane close behind. He's just on a victory lap. You know what I mean? From last marble race. And just like that, congratulations. Craggerell with the win. He's watching from work. So, I think you got the same shipping address, right, Craggerell? I don't know if you're even still watching. I'll let you know on Discord. I'll text him. Or message him. Because he's been watching for a while. So, sub, Craggerell. All right. Awesome. And in last place, Doc. Woohoo! Very good. All right, round of applause for Craggerell. Give it up, and round of applause for you guys, chat. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out. Third's not bad. Third's not bad. Rabbit Penguin in second. Red Chief fourth. Hey, not too shabby. But thank you so much for hanging out, guys. Appreciate it. If you haven't watched the new YouTube video, get a chance to win that fly. And Sunday, 17-minute long video on making my own leader and just talking about leader materials and knots. More so just like talking about stuff as an idea. And Monday, Clouser. Wednesday, Whistler. Flashtail Whistler. Friday, Fly Fishing for Striped Bass, episode number 2, an in-depth guide into everything you need to know about spring striper fishing on the fly. Pretty happy with it. Think it's going to be pretty good. But I got to keep filming. I got to work on the next week after that, so it never ends. It's literally never ends, but 4 videos a week. But anyways, thank you so much for hanging out, for tuning in. Yeah, if you liked the video and, if you enjoyed it, you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Same thing on Twitch. You can drop a follow. But appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow I'm fishing with Mark Sadati. I'm going to try and get some footage. All right? Try and get some. I'm not going to stream it, though, because I don't want to worry about it and whatnot. But we'll be doing some streaming here soon for some striped bass because it's going to be pretty much a couple days I'm going to start fishing. So anyways, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Hope you folks have an awesome night. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody from YouTube. I just closed my YouTube down like an idiot. But all right, we'll see you guys later. Peace.